On day 1, I spawned into a beautiful cherry blossom forest as a creeper. Oh, wait! Why does my stomach hurt? I guess I must be a hungry creeper, and a baby hungry creeper at that. Lucky for me, there seem to be lots of apples laying around the forest. That must be why there are so many capuchin monkeys hanging around. Would you guys mind sharing some of your apples with a hungry creeper like me? I'd really appreciate it. That's when I saw a big, scary SkeleKing striding towards me out of the trees, and he looked like he really meant business.
Not so fast, kid. These apples don't belong to these goofy little monkeys. They belong to me, SkeleKing of the overworld.
Oh, well, can I please have some apples, Your Highness? My name's Zozo, and I'm so hungry.
Sure, if you can pay up some emeralds, nothing in this world is for free, kid.
I don't have any emeralds.
Then we have nothing to say to each other. I'm sick of all you freeloaders thinking you can enjoy my food for nothing. Within 100 days, I'll make sure that nobody can get a single morsel without paying through the nose for it.
I'll never let you get away with that. It's not fair on all the hungry people who don't have emeralds.
Well, I guess I'll just have to destroy you then. Sorry, kid. Gotta make an example out of people sometimes.
The SkeleKing unleashed an energy blast. I ran away as fast as I could, but it was already too late for the monkeys and the apples. The blast took them all out. The blast also took me down to 2 hearts. I ran as fast as I could. I needed to defeat the SkeleKing within 100 days, or everyone would go hungry. On day 2, I reached the Sika Woods and stopped for a minute to catch my breath. I could still feel my stomach growling. I wish I'd been able to eat at least one of those apples. But while I was still catching my breath, I got ambushed by some armored skeletons, and something told me that they probably wouldn't have any food for me.
Hey, it's that freeloader the SkeleKing told us about, boys. We'll teach him to try scrumping our supreme ruler's produce. Attack!
The armored skeletons ran towards me, and all I could do was run away. It's not like I had a weapon, and even if I did, I probably would have been too hungry to fight. Eventually, I managed to lose them. Being in this world was already exhausting. And if I don't find a snack soon, I think I'm gonna pass out. That's when a cassowary approached me. From how slowly she walked over, it seemed like she was nervous.
You're not with the SkeleKing, are you?
Gosh, no! I was just running away from him and his minions. I'm Zozo. What's your name?
That's a relief. I'm Cassie the cassowary. You look hungry. Come with me. I know someone who can fix you up some free grub.
Thank you. That's the best news I've heard all day. On day 3, Cassie the cassowary took me to a cozy little cabin in the middle of Sika Woods. That's where I met the cabin's owner, a friendly straw golem named Stefan.
My word, you poor little creeper. You're all skin and bones. How about I give you some of this nice bread? It's fresh out of the oven.
Stefan gave me some tasty bread, and it helped fill up my hunger bar. A little bit anyway. Seems I really was a hungry creeper through and through. Thank you, Stefan. I really needed that. I don't understand why the SkeleKing doesn't just let people eat when they're hungry. He'd make a lot more friends that way.
Ah, Zozo. But you see, the SkeleKing doesn't care about friends. All he cares about are jewels and riches. As a skeleton, he doesn't even need food. He just hoards it for his own benefit.
That's awful. How can we stop him?
We can stop him by fighting back and making sure all the hungry are fed without having to give in to the SkeleKing's evil demands. Making a base would be a good start.
Good idea. Thank you again, Stefan. We said our goodbyes to Stefan, and then Cassie and I set off deeper into the Sika Woods. It was time to start building a base. From day 4 to day 5, we started the construction project. Of course, before we could do anything else, we needed tools. That's why I broke down a tree and made myself a wooden pickaxe, which is good for only one thing, mining enough stone to make myself a full set of stone gear, including a stone pickaxe and a stone sword. Finally, I can deal some damage and start building a cool base. I used my pickaxe to harvest more stone and used a stone axe to chop down some more trees, giving me more wood to build with and more space for the foundation of my base. Looks like I'm getting the hang of this. Using all the materials I gathered, I started building a pretty basic starter base with a room for me, a room for Cassie, and a common area to hang out together. When it was done, Cassie and I took a second to appreciate it together. It's not much, but it's a start.
I think it looks awesome, Zozo.
But as you can probably expect, all this building worked up a real hunger. I did some more exploring until I found myself some delicious carrots to eat.
What's up, Doc?
And as soon as I ate the carrots, something amazing happened. I leveled up, getting bigger, stronger, and getting 9 hearts. Looks like I power up by eating. That must be why I'm so hungry. From day 6 to day 8, I decided I needed a change of scenery and traveled out to the Mojave Desert to search for more food. Suddenly, some text appeared. It was my stomach. You have generated 1 gunpowder? Well, would you look at that? I now actually have 1 gunpowder in my inventory. I guess it makes sense. I am a creeper after all. I explored for a bit until I was surrounded with hot desert sand all around. Las Vegas should be around here somewhere, and I've heard they have amazing all-you-can-eat buffets. I'm sure my stomach would like that. But I never found Las Vegas or any buffets. Instead, I found a little goblin named Goblo running towards me in a panic.
Stranger, you have to help me. I'm being chased by a desert mummy.
Oh no, don't worry, Goblo. Zozo's the name, and helping people is my game. Stand back! I charged in, leaving Goblo behind, while I searched for the desert mummy. It didn't take long for me to find him. He was running around the desert, trying to find Goblo. Instead, he found me. Let's battle, mummy. You should at least be picking on someone my size. The desert mummy attacked. He was one tough cookie, but thankfully, with my stone sword, I was able to get the edge. He dropped a cookie. Well, don't mind if I do. When the desert mummy was defeated, I returned to Goblo.
Thank you, Zozo. You're a lifesaver.
No problem, Goblo. Why was that desert mummy chasing you in the first place?
Because I owed his boss, the skeleton jackal, some money. When he finds out you defeated the desert mummy, he'll probably just send another.
Then we better go have a chat with this skeleton jackal personally. And I'm gonna need to break for lunch. From day 9 to day 10, I followed Goblo into the Red Rock Mountains, where he told me the skeleton jackal was waiting. You hang back, Goblo. I'll take care of this guy myself, then come back.
Okay, Zozo. Here, take this slingshot. Maybe you can fling some stuff at the skeleton jackal. I wish you luck.
I kept going until I found the skeleton jackal waiting for me. If you're not gonna forgive Goblo's debt, then I guess we're gonna have to fight. I loaded my slingshot with gunpowder and flinged it at him. To my disappointment, nothing happened. Oh well, I guess a good old stone sword will have to do. I charged in with my stone sword, expecting this to be an easy fight, like my battle with the desert mummy. But I was so wrong. It seemed like my attacks were barely doing any damage to the skeleton jackal. He was just too fast and strong. And to make things worse, he started throwing his javelins at me. Ouch, that hurts. I needed to get out of there. So I just turned and ran. I ran until the skeleton jackal was out of sight, then made my way back to Goblo, feeling hungry and ashamed. I'm so sorry, Goblo. I don't think I'm strong enough to take on the skeleton jackal yet. How about you come to my base to lay low? We'll figure something out.
That sounds like a good idea, Zozo. Thank you for helping me.
From day 11 to day 12, I returned to my base with Goblo. Seeing as only Cassie and I had bedrooms at the moment, I needed to expand my base. I started adding a whole new room for Goblo to sleep in, connected to the common area. After building the room, I furnished it with a bed so Goblo could finally relax. How do you like your new room, Goblo?
It's amazing. Thank you, Zozo. I feel safe from the skeleton jackal and his goons here.
Great! Hopefully it'll keep us safe from the SkeleKing and his goons, too.
Oh no, the SkeleKing. He's like 100 times worse than the skeleton jackal. I've heard his troops have been going to anywhere that can produce and store food and trying to take it all over.
But why?
Almost everyone needs food, Zozo. So whoever controls the food controls the world.
Then we better start producing and storing our own food, just to be safe. With that idea in mind, I started adding a new room to the base, just for storage. Once I built the room, I installed a few chests so we could store as much as possible. I also started mining around my base, finding some iron ore deposits that I could later smelt into ingots. But I was still hungry, and I couldn't just eat iron. So I started adding another new feature to my base, a little chicken farm, filled with some chickens I found around the Sika woods. The chickens would lay eggs and give me a steady supply of ingredients for cooking projects. My mouth is watering just thinking about it. From day 13 to day 15, I returned to my base and decided to have a much-needed chat with Cassie the cassowary. Cassie, I need your advice. How do you think I should go about getting strong enough to take on the SkeleKing?
Well, you told me that eating helps you grow and level up. Maybe you need to venture out further and try more exciting foods. The tropical rainforest might have what you're after.
That's an amazing idea, Cassie. I took her advice and traveled out to the tropical rainforest. The journey actually made me even hungrier, but lucky for me, I was able to find some sweet berries that reduced my hunger a little bit. But this was immediately followed by a sudden ambush from the Spider Queen.
Well, if it isn't Zozo, the hungry creeper. I expected you to be bigger.
I'm working on it.
It doesn't matter. The SkeleKing sent me to eliminate you. And believe me, no matter how hungry you are, I'm hungrier. The Spider Queen will eat you alive.
Without another word, the Spider Queen attacked me. It was a tough battle, but lucky for me, I was able to hold my own and turn the tables on the evil Spider Queen. When she was defeated, she dropped some cotton candy onto the ground. That is sweet! Get it? Because it's candy? Sorry, that is a bad joke. I ate the cotton candy and immediately felt myself growing again, just like Cassie had told me. I was bigger, stronger, and now I had 14 hearts. From day 16 to day 19, needing a break from all the dense woods and forests, I decided to take a stroll through the beautiful rose fields. While exploring, I got hungry and decided to eat some bread from Stefan the straw golem that I'd kept in my inventory. When you're going on a long journey, you should always bring snacks, especially when you're a hungry creeper. A little less hungry now, I continued my search through the rose fields until I found a mysterious old chest just sitting around in the middle of the field. Oh, I wonder what's inside. I took a peek and found a book titled Mysteries of the Weeping Witch Forest. Most of the pages were blank, but one of them had the words, "A man who once walked the Weeping Witch Forest with evil thoughts found his mind and body twisted, always desiring but never hungry, forever unsatisfied, a creature less than human." Wait, that sounds a lot like the SkeleKing. Does this mean he has something to do with the Weeping Witch Forest? Before I could finish my thought, a bunch of armored skeletons turned up, looking for a fight.
Look, we found the freeloader again. Let's destroy him for good this time. Maybe the SkeleKing will give us a raise.
The armored skeletons attacked me, but I wasn't a little baby hungry creeper anymore. With my new size, skills, and my stone sword, I was able to defeat every last one of them. Seems like all my hard work is paying off. Now I'm hungry again though, running out of food, fast. From day 20 to day 22, I continued through the rose fields. I found a few spiders along the way, but after defeating the Spider Queen, they were nothing. I think I've earned myself some upgraded equipment after all this. I continued mining into the ground until I found some more iron ore. I then built myself a little furnace out in the field to smelt the ore into ingots, then turned the ingots into a full set of iron gear. First and foremost, an iron sword and an iron pickaxe. I think I'm finally strong enough to settle an old score now. With Goblo's debts in mind and my hunger nagging at me again, I made my journey back to the Red Rock Mountains, where the skeleton jackal was once again waiting for me. Ready for a rematch, friendo? The skeleton jackal attacked, but this time I was a lot bigger, stronger, and faster than before, and I had way better weapons. It didn't take me long to defeat the monster, and in doing so, clear all of Goblo's debts. It feels good to help. Now if only it made me less hungry. While I was feeling sorry for myself, the SkeleKing himself suddenly appeared, walking right up to me. With him there, I certainly didn't feel as confident as I did before.
Been enjoying all the free snacks, you sad little mooch? You've been eating on borrowed time, Zozo. You owe me, and I always collect on what I'm owed.
I don't understand you, SkeleKing. I read that you were a person once, before you lost your humanity. Why do you want all this money if you don't even need to buy food with it?
To need is weak, and to want is powerful, Zozo. What you have is hunger. It's a sign of your low status. What I have is ambition. Perhaps someday you'll understand that, but I don't expect you to live that long. Mark my words, your days are numbered.
And with that, the SkeleKing disappeared, and I was alone in the Red Rock Mountains with a grumbling stomach once again. From day 23 to day 26, I tried to ignore my grumbling stomach as I returned to my base. I really wanted a snack, but first I had to give Goblo the good news. I found him chilling at the fireplace. Hey, Goblo, guess what?
What is it, Zozo?
I took care of that skeleton jackal, so he won't be sending his goons after you anymore.
That's amazing! Thank you so much for your help!
No problem. Now we don't have to worry about any more of those creeps coming after you. Next, I decided to gather materials that would help me improve my base. Also, I wanted to see if I could rustle up another snack. Some stone blocks. I can use these to build a stone wall around the base and keep the bad guys out. I gathered the stone, as well as some coal which I unearthed, and got to work building a wall around my base. That looks great! Super secure. But I want to make sure I can see what's going on out here while I'm inside. I know, I'll add some windows. After carrying all that stone, putting in a few windows was a snap. Phew, that really made me work up an appetite. I wandered out into the woods to see what I could find, and suddenly I spotted a tree filled with what I like to call yellow gold, bananas. This is the best day I've had so far. I picked up as many bananas as I could find and made sure to eat a few to help fill up my rumbling stomach. After that, I could think much more clearly. As much as I wanted to eat all the bananas, I realized I could use some of them to help upgrade one of my weapons. I know, I'll fuse these with my sword and make a banana sword. No, a banana katana. Hey, that's pretty good. Maybe once the SkeleKing is defeated, I'll get into comedy. It tastes delicious. I just gotta make sure I don't cut my tongue while eating my katana. From day 27 to day 31, I was getting restless hanging around the base. Having no more bananas to eat, it was time to head out and explore a new area to see what snacks I could find. My journey took me all the way out to the ice spikes. I wish I'd worn a coat, but I've got my sense of adventure to keep me warm. Plus, it was pretty hard to focus on being cold when I was so hungry. As I was walking, I came across some diamonds. Whoa, I can't believe these are out here. I'll grab them and take them home with me. Then, I saw something amongst the ice and the bushes and rushed toward it. Maybe it's something I can eat. But as I got closer, I realized it was just a mungus. Oh, sorry to bother you.
No bother at all. I was hoping someone would come along to help me. I took a stroll away from my home in the mushroom fields, and I'm afraid I'm hopelessly lost and getting colder by the second.
Well, you can warm up at my base if you want. Follow me there.
Oh, thank you. Please take these cookies as a token of my thanks.
Sweet.
Yes, exactly.
I showed the mungus the way back to my base, but we were both still shivering from the cold. We need a bigger fireplace. I quickly upgraded our existing one, and before long we were warming ourselves up by the fire and munching on cookies. This is the good life. Just then, Cassie the cassowary approached us.
Zozo, I need your help! It's Stefan! He's in trouble! We have to go now!
From day 32 to day 35, Cassie and I headed to Stefan's cabin in the Sika Woods to see what was going down. Cassie sounded pretty upset, so I knew it was probably pretty bad. When we arrived, I saw why Cassie was so freaked out. The place was swarming with armored skeletons.
Zozo, thank goodness you're here. These brutes have been tearing my cabin apart.
Don't worry, we'll stop them. I drew my banana katana. I've got my banana katana, so you guys better split. I didn't have time to laugh at my super funny joke. I had to get to work fighting these guys off.
There's so many of them! What do we do?
We do our best. One of the armored skeletons came at me, but I managed to get in a good hit with my weapon before he could get me. We were so caught up in the fight, we didn't notice the two skeletons that knocked Stefan to the ground. Oh no! I tried to help him, but it was too late. Stefan was gone. You'll pay for this! My anger gave me the strength I needed to finish the fight, and with Cassie offering moral support, we defeated the rest of the armored skeletons. I sadly approached the remains of the straw golem. This is all my fault. I bet these guys were working for the SkeleKing.
It's not your fault, Zozo. It's the bad guys who should be blamed.
You're right, Cassie. I need to focus on what matters, stopping the SkeleKing from taking everyone's food. Speaking of food, I'm getting hungry again. I explored the golem's house for some food, but instead found a crafting table with items placed on top. Of course, it's the crafting recipe for TNT. I bet shooting TNT with my slingshot will work way better than shooting with gunpowder. From day 36 to day 39, I set off in search of something else to eat. Cassie and I split up so we could cover more ground. I also needed to keep looking for additional ways to defeat the SkeleKing, but I was pretty sure I could do both at the same time. I couldn't help it. I was just a very hungry creeper. Cassie told me she heard there was food in the Badlands, so that was where I decided to go. but I didn't see any snacks anywhere. Just rocks, sand, cacti, and other non-food plants. Oh man, nothing to eat here. As I was talking to myself, a coyote came up to me. He told me that he needed help finding aloe vera to treat his sunburns. He had spent too much time in the sun without applying sunscreen, and now he had sunburns all over his skin. Sure, I'll help you. Maybe if I found it quick enough, he'd give me a snack in return. No, I shouldn't think that. You shouldn't do good deeds just in case someone gives you a gift. You should do them just because it's good to be kind and help others. I spotted the aloe plant, but when I ran over to pick it up, someone jumped out from behind a rock.
I am the Desert Lord!
Dessert Lord? What kind of desserts do you have?
Not dessert, you fool! Desert! This is my domain, and everything in it belongs to me, including that aloe plant. Begone!
No can do, buddy. That aloe is required by someone else.
Then you must duel me for it.
Works for me. I ran toward the Desert Lord and fought him with my banana katana. The duel didn't take very long because my katana broke. What was I thinking? It's made from bananas. Of course the durability is non-existent. I used my axe instead, before he fell down and gave up. Then I grabbed the Zimbabwe aloe saplings and took them back to the coyote. He didn't have any snacks for me, but that was okay. It was still nice to help out. Before I left the Badlands, I made sure to stock up on some sand so I can craft more TNT when I get home. From day 40 to day 43, I returned to my base to check things out. This place is missing something. I know, we need some banners and some bookcases. I quickly got to work adding them. When I was done, I took a look at my new and improved base. Much better. That's when Goblo approached me.
Zozo, could I ask for a favor?
Sure thing, Goblo. What's up?
I'm pretty lonely here without any other goblins. Think I could invite some of my gob friends to stay with us for a while?
Sure, let me just make them some rooms. I added some extra rooms to the base so Goblo's buddies would have somewhere to stay. It was starting to look like a hotel. All done, go ahead and invite your friends. While Goblo and the Gobs settled in, I crafted as much TNT as I could. I have enough gunpowder for only 3? Come on, Stomach, you can do better than that. Start making more gunpowder. At least I could craft myself a diamond sword to replace the good old banana katana. My thoughts turned to food again, but my thoughts were interrupted by one of my latest guests, the Mungus, coming over to me with a quest.
Hey, Zozo, I have a quest for you.
Sure, what is it?
I need you to go to the underground mine for me. There is an Anubis there who has been terrorizing my family and keeping them from mining there.
I don't like bullies. You've got it, Mungus. I'll make sure he leaves your family alone. From day 44 to day 49, I traveled to the location of the underground mine to look for that Anubis who was giving Mungus so much trouble. I spotted a crane in the distance. This must be it. It was an entire mining site. I headed down into the mine and started to look around. I have to admit, I was also kind of hoping I'd find something to eat too, but the chests there were filled with rubbish. Mostly I was focused on my quest, but I'll never turn down a snack. I ventured deeper, but I didn't see Anubis anywhere. But what I did see was the SkeleKing lurking in the mine.
Hey, you've gotten bigger since I last saw you. What did I tell you before, Zozo? No more free snacks. This is the end of that line, kid. You're toast, and you'll never eat toast again without paying me for it first.
You're terrible. You let your greed consume everything you do, and then you act like we're all greedy for wanting the smallest things. It's not fair.
Life isn't fair. You're either a winner or a loser. Get used to it. And speaking of losing, get ready to lose a fight with one of my best minions. Ha 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 ha!
He let out an evil laugh, then ran out of the mine, leaving a terrifying ghost miner behind. I had to be brave, even if I was scared. Whatever, I ain't afraid of no ghost. But when he rushed at me, I could tell he was really strong, and this wasn't going to be an easy fight. From day 50 to day 53, I worked hard to bust the ghost miner and get out of the underground mine alive. I was a little bit worried because I couldn't damage him. My punches went straight through him. And his pickaxe did loads of damage. But it dawned on me, I should blast him away with my TNT. I loaded up my slingshot and kaboom! The ghost was literally blown away. Haha! I managed to win after all! As I was looking around the mine after the fight, I saw a chest in the distance. I checked inside. A golden apple! Can I eat this? Only one way to find out. Turns out, I could eat it. And not only was it tasty and gave me some nice buffs, but it gave me some secret knowledge. Suddenly, I knew something else about the SkeleKing. So he's hiding all the food he takes in chests at his base. If only I knew where his base was, I could return all the food to the people that need it. That's great! Now I just have to find out where he's hiding and get big and strong enough to stand a chance in a fight with him too. From day 54 to day 57, I climbed deeper into the mine. I couldn't go back to my base until I found that Anubis. After all, I gave Mungus my word that I would complete his quest. Well, all of a sudden, it looked like I would still get the chance because a great big tough Anubis came bolting out at me. Ah, bad dog, bad dog! He knocked into me and it hurt, but I was still alive and I was still strong enough to fight back. I ran back at him and managed to defeat him, even though he was bigger and badder than me. Oh hey, he dropped something. Suspicious stew. Awesome! I didn't care how suspicious it was. I was starving. I slurped it up and felt myself grow bigger and stronger with 18 hearts now. With my quest complete, I headed back to the base to give Mungus the good news.
Thank you so much, Zozo. I have some good news of my own. I heard a rumor that the SkeleKing's base is in the Weeping Witch Forest. When you feel strong and ready enough, you should be able to find him there.
From day 58 to day 62, I was thinking about food again. I wish I had some more eggs, then we could make all kinds of snacks here at the base. Wait a second, if we had some more chickens, we could have more eggs. I went out and found some chickens, then herded them back to the base and put them in the coop with the others. Make friends, little chickens. Then I decided to see if I could upgrade my gear. I went down into the mine and found some more diamonds. Perfect! I used the diamonds to craft a shiny new pair of diamond boots and pants. I feel tougher already. From day 63 to day 66, I tried to come up with a plan for what to do next. I wasn't ready to try and take on the SkeleKing on his own turf. I needed to get stronger first. Then Goblo came to me with an idea.
Say, Zozo, are you still hungry?
I'm always hungry.
Well, I heard there's some yummy fish to be found in the bayou. Might be a good idea to check it out and see if you can find some.
That's a great idea. Thanks to Goblo's tip, I left my base and traveled to the bayou. I was wandering around when an ogre came stomping up to me. I was pretty nervous and got ready for a fight, but he gave me a friendly growl instead.
Hi, sorry to bother you, but I could use a little help. You see, there are a bunch of gnarly swamp spiders infesting my house and trying to bite me every time I go inside. Could you get rid of them for me?
Sure, after the kind of enemies I've fought lately, I can definitely squash a few spiders. From day 67 to day 70, I followed the ogre to his house, and sure enough, it was crawling with swamp spiders! Yikes, I get why you asked for help. These weren't any ordinary spiders, they were meaner and much more dangerous. But I'd already fought the Spider Queen, so I knew I could take them. It didn't take long before I defeated every single one of those spiders.
Thank you. I couldn't have done it without your help.
All done. Your house should be safe now.
Yeah, take this as a thank you.
He handed me some raw salmon. Hey, it's true, there really is fish here. I gobbled up the salmon and it really hit the spot. Yes. We said our goodbyes and the ogre went back to cleaning up and living in his house. From day 71 to day 74, I took a walk through the Black Forest on my way back to my base. As I was looking around, I found a note on the ground. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more adventures like this one, and be sure to search ZOZO to find more awesome videos. After looking at the note, I went back to hunting for something else to eat. I've heard people talk about Black Forest cake before. Maybe I can find some of that here if I'm lucky. But I didn't find any cake. All I found was the SkeleKing lying in wait for me.
There's no more cake left in this forest, Zozo, but I'll give you a slice if you bring me some diamonds first.
Never!
Then perish.
He started throwing bone blocks at me. I tried to dodge them, but a few got me anyway. Ouch! That really hurt! He's still a lot stronger than me. I don't want to run away, but I'd better get out of here if I want to survive. so I ran out of there as fast as I could before he could do any more damage. Next time I see him, I'll make sure I'm ready. From day 75 to day 78, I ran all the way back to my base. Thankfully, the SkeleKing wasn't able to follow me there. I need to do something to take my mind off of that disaster. I looked around and my eyes settled on the garden. Some flowers would make me feel better. So I planted some flowers in the garden and it really cheered me up. Look at all those beautiful flowers. As I was finishing up with the garden, one of the gobs that Goblo invited to the base came over. He thanked me for giving him and the others a place to stay and handed me a steaming hot bowl of mushroom stew as a thank you gift. Yum, this smells great. I quickly ate the stew and grew larger, gaining 4 more hearts. Wow, I feel so much stronger now. Thanks, Gob. That's a pretty powerful stew. From day 79 to day 84, I headed to the apple orchard to gather some fruit and look for some mobs I could test out my new strength on. I found plenty of both. There were a lot of apples, and there was also the Golden Devourer. They were hungry little guys trying to eat all the apples for themselves. Leave some for the rest of us. I taught them a lesson and beat them quickly. I really am stronger. A giant came up to me and told me he saw what I did. He'd been trying to clear those pests out of the apple orchard for days now, and now he and the other people living nearby could finally get some of the apples. I helped him pick some to take back home, and he gave me a piece of mutton in return. I ate the mutton and it tasted great and helped me grow even stronger. From day 85 to day 89, I took a leisurely walk back to my base. But when I got there, I was shocked at what I found. There was a big, nasty sectoid queen attacking my base and scaring all of my friends. Hey, you get out of here! But before I could attack, the sectoid queen scuttled off into the woods. Oh, no you don't! I ran after her, but I lost track of her. I saw a bull looking around and thought maybe he could help me. Have you seen a sectoid queen?
Yes! If I tell you where she went, will you help me get my cat out of that tree?
Sure. Here, kitty kitty. I don't know why, but the cat listened to me and climbed down out of the tree. I guess it could tell I just wanted to help.
Thank you! She went that way!
He pointed me in the right direction, and I headed off to track down the sectoid queen. From day 90 to day 94, I found the sectoid queen deep in the Sika woods. There you are. Why were you attacking my base?
Just following orders from the SkeleKing. He sent me after a little newt who's been hoarding snacks without paying for them. When I couldn't find you, I decided to tear apart your house to teach you a lesson.
You shouldn't have done that. Now, I'll teach you a lesson.
You can try.
I attacked with my sword, but it was a much harder fight than I expected. Uh-oh, she's really strong. This isn't gonna be easy. The queen seemed to back off and started digging a tunnel into the mountain. I was hurting, so I didn't follow her immediately. Instead, I gathered some berries to replenish my hunger and health before continuing the fight. From day 95 to day 97, I went into the tunnel which led to a dripstone cave where the queen was waiting. I charged her and kept on fighting the sectoid queen. She started spawning regular-sized ants around her. Sure, they were small, but they still bite. I was getting pretty tired, and I was worried I might not make it out of this one.
Might as well give up now. You'll never be a match for the SkeleKing.
That taunt gave me the inspiration I needed to finish up the fight. That is it. No more playing around. Taste the power of TNT. I shot a TNT charge up into the dripstone, and it fell right on the sectoid queen. She was done for. Wow, that was a tough one. I saw that the sectoid queen had dropped a throwing axe, and I picked it up. Wow, this is a great weapon. It'll help me a lot. There was an inscription on the handle reading, "Property of the SkeleKing." I guess this used to be his throwing axe. Well, he took a lot of things from people who need them, and then he was careless with his own weapon? Finders keepers, I guess. I'll use this to defeat him once and for all. Before I left, I made sure to mine up all the diamonds that were in this cave. This will be just enough diamonds to finish my diamond armor set. On day 98, I took my new throwing axe back home to my base, and to my surprise, my friends fixed up the house back to the way it was before. I started preparing for the final battle. First, I made the rest of my diamond armor. There, now I am well protected. Next, I crafted as much TNT as I could. Thank you, stomach. This gunpowder will be used for good. Now I finally felt ready to take on the SkeleKing and return the food to the hungry masses. But first, Cassie approached me.
Zozo, I'm glad I caught you. I brought you this pineapple to help you get your strength up before your battle.
I ate the pie and changed my form into a mutant creeper. Now I look really mighty. I gained even more hearts, up to 40 now. What was in that pineapple?
I don't know, but now you can definitely defeat the SkeleKing.
Then came Goblo.
Yeah, thank you for saving my life, Zozo. You've done so much to help so many people, and I just know you'll be the one to free us from the SkeleKing.
Thank you, that means a lot. Of course, the Mungus had something to say.
Zozo, I may just be a simple mungus from mushroom fields, but I think you're a really fun guy.
Thanks! And even the other gobs wanted to encourage me.
Since you liked it so much before, here's some more mushroom stew. Eat up before you leave.
I stored the stew for later, and I felt prepared to head out and take back what was rightfully ours. On day 99, I started on my trek to the Weeping Witch Forest, where the SkeleKing's base was. At first, I wasn't sure where exactly his lair might be, but a bubble parasite pointed me in the right direction.
You can do it, Zozo.
Thanks, pal. When I arrived at the base, I saw an armored pillager guarding the entrance. How am I gonna get past him? For a second, I thought my plans were doomed, until the ogre came running out of the woods.
Let me handle him. You take on the SkeleKing.
Ogre, you're here!
You didn't think I'd leave you without any backup, did ya? I can handle the zombie. You head on inside.
On day 100, I ran straight into the SkeleKing's base. With no more minions to protect him, he would have to fight me himself, one-on-one. Come on out and face me. It's time for you to be the one who pays. He emerged from his lair at the sound of my taunts.
I'm not paying for a thing. You don't know what you're messing with, little creeper.
I'm not so little anymore.
No, I guess not. You've gotten strong on stolen snacks. Snacks you should have given me emeralds in exchange for.
You can't make people pay you for food. It belongs to everyone.
Enough talk. I've had enough of your chatter. I'll shut you up once and for all.
You know what? I'm still hungry, and there's only one thing that would hit the spot right now. Justice. And with that, I sprang into action and charged at the SkeleKing, dealing him a powerful blow. But he was not taking any damage. He had some sort of purple magic protecting him. That's when I noticed purple crystals in the watchtowers. That must be what is protecting him. Just like when you fight the Ender Dragon, I needed to get closer to them. I managed to sprint into his house. I searched for a lever to deactivate the towers, but saw nothing, just his bed and his throne. He did have TNT on display. That is it. Who needs a lever? I can just shoot TNT at the crystals. I had no time to waste. The SkeleKing came into the house and landed some good hits on me. I ran to the first tower and launched TNT right into the crystal. The SkeleKing didn't seem to like that explosion. I ran to the next tower while SkeleKing chased me. Soon the second tower was also down. Just one more. The SkeleKing almost caught up to me, but he was too late. I successfully destroyed all the crystals and his magical protection had disappeared. He stepped back, injured.
No, you're weak. You're tiny. I own you. I own everyone. Everything.
Maybe you did own everything, but I'm here to take it all back. I threw my throwing axe as hard as I could, and it hit, knocking him out. And that was that. The SkeleKing had been dethroned. Time to take all of this food and get it back to the people who need it. In that moment, I didn't feel hungry anymore, and I knew that as long as I had anything to say about it, no one in the world would ever go hungry again. On day 1, I spawned in as a Pokemon Creeper. Creeper. Oh, thank goodness. I was worried for a second I'd only be able to say my own name. That takes some of the sting off being a baby with 5 hearts. I checked my inventory and found that I had a Pokedex guidebook. This would help me recognize all the other Pokemon I encountered. I looked at my surroundings. I was in some kind of forest. Not quite the Kanto region, but I could still explore. Further into the forest, among some tall grass, I discovered some more creeper Pokemon, just like me.
Creeper.
Oh, I guess you guys aren't so talkative. That's fine. I'm sure I can find a trainer who will talk to me. But instead of a friendly Pokemon trainer, instead, a really scary bug-type Pokemon called a Deathworm popped out of the ground. Let's get out of here, guys!
Creeper, creeper.
We scattered off into the forest to avoid the death worm. I hid out behind some trees for the rest of the night. On day 2, I ventured out of my hiding spot, convinced that the death worm was gone. I hope I don't run into one of those again. Guess it isn't easy being a creeper Pokemon, but at least I wasn't alone in being a creeper Pokemon. While I was wandering around the Forgotten Forest, I found an evolved creeper Pokemon. Oh wow, is that what I'm gonna look like when I evolve? I couldn't be more excited.
Creeper, creeper.
Well, even if I'm a baby creeper Pokemon, at least I can talk. But I couldn't stand around for long. A deadly fire-type Pokemon, the cockatrice, came out of the trees and attacked. It breathed a jet of fire onto my new evolved creeper friend, destroying him in an instant. And if it could do that to an evolved creeper, I'd be in real trouble. I ran away as fast as I could. Later, I arrived in the lush red desert, far, far away from the cockatrice and the death worm. Here, I could maybe build myself a home. Let's get building. I found some trees and knocked them down, collecting enough wood to make myself a wooden pickaxe and a wooden sword. These are pretty useless, but I guess everyone has got to start somewhere. With my extra wood, I started building my own wooden base to give me shelter from the elements. It felt nice to finally sleep indoors for once. On day 3, I went out to the meadows, wondering if I could beat some more Pokemon who wanted to come stay at my base. Instead, I found something even cooler, a Pokemon trainer. I ran over to him, so excited to finally have someone I could talk to. Hey, I'm Zozo. I'm a creeper Pokemon. It's so cool to meet you. Oh wow, a Pokemon that can talk. You don't see that every day. I haven't seen a Pokemon trainer here yet either. Maybe we should team up. I'd love to, but I think I might need to become a more experienced Pokemon trainer before we can truly team up. But when I get there, I'll know where to find you. It wasn't exactly what I wanted, but it was a start. I started to head back to my base and used my wooden pickaxe to dig up a bunch of stone, which I used to improve my base and build myself a stone sword and a stone pickaxe. Before the day was out, a Pokemon called a Zoglin attacked me, and I was able to easily defeat it with my stone sword. After I defeated it, it dropped some rare candy on the floor, and I quickly collected it. This candy will come in handy later. From day 4 to day 5, I woke up and felt ready to eat that delicious rare candy I'd collected from the Zoglin the previous night. It's been a long week. I think I've earned a little treat. The second I ate the rare candy, I felt myself evolving and getting stronger. I got bigger. I now had 30 hearts and a brand new attack to use on enemy Pokemon, Fire Breath. Whoa, it looks like I'm a fire-type Pokemon too! I spent the rest of the day in the Mojave Desert, which was even hotter than the one around my base. It was sandy everywhere, so I collected some sand blocks to use later. Then, I ran into a sandwich.
Hey there, little creeper Pokemon. I actually saw a few more of your kind not far from here. You should go see them.
So I did. I searched around until I found a little group of creeper Pokemon just like me. I was so happy.
Creeper, creeper.
Yeah, creeper. How about you guys come and stay at my base? Us creeper Pokemon should stick together for safety. We returned to my base in the lush red desert and found that a wither was waiting outside. This wasn't good. Stand back, guys. I'll deal with this. I ran in and used my new flame breath to destroy the wither. Being a fire-type Pokemon was a lot of fun. From day 6 to day 8, I met up with the Pokemon trainer again, and we went exploring together, searching for some food. And not long after finding some, we went into a nearby underground cavern to do a little bit of mining. It's super dark in here. Don't worry, trainer, I can light the way. I breathed a jet of fire and lit up our way, seeing some iron ore in the blocks beneath us. I grabbed my stone pickaxe and started mining until I collected some ore. We built a furnace in the underground cavern and used the ore to create an iron sword and an iron pickaxe. Now I'm stronger than I've ever been. With our new equipment in hand, we went to the oasis to relax and spent some time in the sun next to the nice cool water. But not everything was so peachy in the oasis. We were suddenly attacked by a giant monster known as the Hydra. Even with all my new equipment and my fire-breathing power, I couldn't hurt him at all. Get out of here, Zozo. I'll take care of him. You need to get to safety. So I did, because it was all I could do. My Pokemon trainer and the Hydra fought until, in the end, neither of them remained. No! I started heading back alone. I felt so terrible. I'd lost everything. But on the way back, I ran into a friendly Myrmex queen.
Hello, little creeper Pokemon.
Hey, sorry if I seem a little down right now. I just lost a friend of mine.
Goodness, you can talk? That's incredible. I didn't know creeper Pokemon could talk.
Me neither. I might be the only one.
Well, if you lost your friend, perhaps I'll come stay with you. You shouldn't be alone on a night like this.
I would love that, Myrmex Queen. The Myrmex Queen and I returned to my base, and I created a new room for her to stay in. It was nice to finally have someone to stay with me who could actually talk. From day 9 to day 10, I woke up to find someone waiting outside my base. It was a huge, scary-looking Dread Knight, and he was here for me. Who are you?
I'm your worst nightmare. I'm the strongest Pokemon gym leader in the overworld, and that Hydra you and your friend destroyed, that was one of my prized Pokemon.
It destroyed my friend, and it attacked us first, too. How could you blame us for what happened?
Don't pity yourself. Not yet. When I'm done with you, you're gonna have something to really pity. Mark my words, you sad little creeper Pokemon. I'm going to get you.
And then he was gone, leaving me confused and afraid, not knowing what would happen next. From day 11 to day 12, I was woken up by the Myrmex Queen. She seemed incredibly excited to see me.
Zozo, I know that losing your friend was very hard for you, so I made you something that might help you process what happened. Come and see.
I came out and saw what the Myrmex Queen had created, a memorial for the fallen Pokemon trainer, so we'd always be able to remember him. This is amazing, Myrmex Queen. Thank you. Let's go traveling together. We went out to the orchard, where I hoped I might be able to find some food that would make me stronger. Instead, we just found an angry siren who didn't want to have our company. Being attacked while just going on a walk really gets me fired up. I breathed fire on the siren, defeating it, and the Myrmex Queen and I continued searching for ways to get stronger. That's when we met a friendly troll, and I decided to ask him.
Wow, a talking Pokemon. That's exciting. If you want to get stronger, you can seek out Professor Oak. He's an expert when it comes to Pokemon, and I've heard he's got a clinic somewhere out in the meadows.
Professor Oak? Now that sounds like an idea. I'll need all the help I can get to be strong enough to defeat the Dread Knight. Wanna come stay at my base in the meantime?
Sure, that sounds like fun.
We went back to my base with the troll, and I built a new room for him to stay in. I wasn't so lonely now. From day 13 to day 15, I went off into the meadows to seek out Professor Oak. If that Dread Knight guy really was after me, I needed to get evolved as quickly as possible. While traveling through the meadows, though, I got attacked by a terrifying dragon-type Pokemon, the Lightning Dragon. There's no way I'm ready to face that thing. The Lightning Dragon was heading straight towards me. I tensed up and prepared to get destroyed, when suddenly a huge energy blast struck the side of the Lightning Dragon, defeating it and saving my life. When I turned and saw who fired the energy blast, it was just a tiny little pixie. I immediately ran over to thank her. You saved me there. I'm Zozo, and I'm so grateful for the help you gave me. If there's anything I can do, please let me know.
I'd always do whatever I can to help out a kind stranger. But sadly, I used up the last of my magical power to defeat that dragon. Do you think you could go and defeat the ghost-type Pokemon who's been haunting the meadow?
After the way you saved me there, it's really the least I could do. I traveled further into the meadow until I saw the spooky ghost type floating around. Thankfully, the undead hate fire, and with my fire-breathing power, I was soon able to defeat it. This ghost is toast. I then returned to the pixie to give her the good news and ask her if she knew anything about Professor Oak.
Thank you for the help, Zozo. Professor Oak is out of town on a research trip at the moment, but he'll be back in a week or so.
Thanks for the heads up. At least I was able to help here in the meantime. With that valuable info, I turned and started heading in the direction of my base. From day 16 to day 19, I returned to my base, only to find it was being attacked by a deadly Gorgon. I saw the friendly troll who told me about Professor Oak running at her, trying to defend the base. But it was hopeless. She destroyed him in one hit. No, Mr. Troll, you monster! I ran in to battle the Gorgon for what she'd done. I tried to hit her with my sword and my flame breath, but neither seemed to have an effect. She just laughed at me.
You sad little creeper Pokemon. Is that all you've got? Wow, the Dread Knight is wasting his time even sending me to destroy you. I've got better things to do. Later, loser.
With that, the Gorgon left, leaving me in the ruins of my base with another friend gone. At least I still had the Myrmex Queen, and she came to comfort me.
Don't worry, Zozo. We'll get back at them. And in the meantime, we'll repair the base and build back better.
I took the time to extinguish the fire around my base. Then, I returned to the underground cavern, mining more materials so I could make myself some iron armor. I can't afford to be unprotected right now. By the time I got back to my base, I found something exciting. The Mermex Queen had invited over a bunch of Mermex workers. They'd not only built a whole barracks for them to all live in, they'd also built a watchtower for us to keep a lookout for any more of the Dread Knight's henchmen. I ran over to the Mermex Queen to thank her. This is amazing, Mermex Queen. It's starting to really look like a base here.
You know what would make it even more like a base? A super cool statue.
That's an excellent idea. And in fact, I know exactly what to build. From day 20 to day 22, I was wandering around the prairie, looking for new friends and potentially new upgrades and gear. Instead, I found an angry Dread Scuttler. I really don't want to deal with this today. I defeated the Dread Scuttler with my iron sword and proceeded to collect a bunch of blocks so that I could use to start building the statue. You'll never guess what it is. On my way back through the lush red desert to my base, I found a few sheep wandering around and decided to herd them back to my base. I built a paddock to house them all. This will be perfect for gathering wool for making banners. That's when the Mermex Queen came over to me with some good news.
Hey Zozo, I got started on your statue, and I think it's coming along nicely. But it's gonna need those new materials you gathered next.
I'll add them right away. I ran in and continued work on the statue, getting it just a little further along with the new materials I'd collected. Can you guess what it is yet? Let me know down in the comments. From day 23 to day 26, I returned to the meadow, hoping that this time I'd get a chance to speak with Professor Oak. He's gotta be back from his research trip by now. Just then, from out of the grass came an Enderman, a really dangerous Dark-type Pokemon. It swiped for me with its long arms, but I dodged and drew my sword. Prepare for battle! I used my Fire Breath attack to weaken the Enderman and finished it off with an Iron Sword strike. Before I could celebrate, 2 more Endermen jumped out and tried to pick up where the first one left off. I defeated them both with some difficulty. Not much later, I found a rare Ghost-type Pokemon known as a Ghast. Ghost types are weak against Dark types, so it must have been hiding from all the Endermen out here. Hey, Ghast, it would be safer if you came to live at my base. There are lots of friendly Bug-type Pokemon there now.
No thanks, Creeper Pokemon. Let's ghost hunt alone.
Then the Ghast vanished into thin air. I guess he was serious about being alone. I went back to searching, and soon I found a man in a lab coat standing in the meadow. Are you Professor Oak?
Why yes, I am the famous Professor Oak, world-renowned Pokemon expert. And who might you be?
I'm a creeper Pokemon, but I can talk. My friends call me Zozo.
Well, I've certainly met talking Pokemon before, but it's always an ultra-rare occurrence. Where's your trainer anyway?
That's the problem. I don't have one right now. I was hoping since you're a Pokemon expert, you could train me so I could become stronger.
I don't see why not. I've been meaning to do more research on creeper Pokemon regardless. Let's get started.
On day 27 to day 31, I trained with Professor Oak in order to increase the power of my moves in battle. I could definitely feel that my base stats were becoming stronger. You're not just an expert professor, you're an expert trainer.
My work is almost done here, Zozo. You'll be a fighting machine after you complete the last challenge of your hyper training.
If it means being strong enough to face the Dread Knight, I'll do whatever it takes.
Very good answer. Now I will present you with your challenge. You must defeat a Wild Ravager. It is a fighting-type Pokemon known for its merciless attacks. It will be a formidable foe, but if you're ready and you believe in your training, you should be able to win.
I won't let you down, Professor.
Here are some super potions that might help you recover your hearts in the battle.
Thanks! I went to where the Wild Ravager could be found and took on the Professor's challenge. Using everything I had learned so far on my journey, I battled the Ravager. It was a tough fight, and the Ravager's fighting moves were very strong. But I was strong now too, and I managed to hang in there and retaliate with some attacks of my own. I was down to low health, but I still managed to get the win. Good thing I had those super potions. From day 32 to day 35, I told Professor Oak that I had defeated the Ravager. He seemed very impressed with my progress.
Very good, Zozo. You are one powerful creeper Pokemon now.
Thanks, Professor. You really believed in me.
And you believed in yourself too. That's half the battle.
What's the other half, Professor?
Battle. Now take this league badge to prove that you've got what it takes to be a champ in the making.
All right! I decided to return home to base to tell the others the good news about my training. I had made it all the way back to the Mojave Desert when I saw the Ghast from earlier, and they were in trouble.
Help! Help! A naval gym leader is trying to capture me!
Evil gym leader? That sounds like… Oh no, it is! The Dread Knight was here! I didn't expect that I'd run into him so soon!
Stop running away, Ghast! I'm trying to add you to my Pokemon team! A spooky ghost type would make an excellent addition!
The Dread Knight didn't see me yet. I could sneak up on him and attack. But what if I lost? I might have earned a league badge, but he was still a gym leader. For now, I have to retreat. Sorry, Ghast. If only you'd listened to me before. A little later, I was at the Oasis, still trying to find my way home, when I ran into a giant pig Pokemon, the Piglin Brute. No problem, pigs are usually normal type, so this should be a cinch. But it wasn't as easy as I expected. The Piglin Brute had so many hit points, and its attacks felt like critical hits. Oh no, am I too weak to fight this Pokemon too? I ran away from the battle and continued on for home where I thought I'd be safer. I couldn't believe that I was still so weak after all the training I did. From day 36 to day 39, I arrived home safe and sound, except the base wasn't safe or sound. It was being attacked by the Gorgon again. Oh no, last time I fought her, I barely did any damage.
We meet again, Zozo. Have you come home so you can lose to me again?
No way! If I don't step up and beat you now, the Myrmex Queen and all the others will be in danger.
Suit yourself. I'm going to enjoy this.
We began to battle, and once again, my fire breath and sword attacks were not very effective. And that's when it hit me. Gorgon must be a rock type, and that's why she has such high defenses. But there's one way to deal with rock types, a fighting type attack like Rock Smash. I unequipped my sword and attacked with my fists like a fighting type. Somehow, it actually damaged her.
What? I'm hit? Enjoy your victory while you can. You still aren't worth the trouble.
Gorgon left the base. I guess my training with Oak did pay off. The Myrmex Queen approached me, looking proud.
Zozo, you're back, and not a moment too soon. I just heard there was a power bracer in the lush red desert. If you could get it, you'd be able to upgrade your attack power to the next level.
That sounds like just what I need. We should go find it. I took Myrmex Queen with me, and the two of us went to the lush red desert to search for the power bracer. We didn't get far before we encountered another wild cockatrice. They must be really common for fire types. There was a villager in danger of getting scorched, so I stepped in to help out, striking the cockatrice down with my sword. Thank you for protecting me. You're one friendly Pokemon. Here's a map to the beach where you can find some treasure. Gee, thanks. We said goodbye to the villager and kept searching through the desert. We found the power bracer without needing to worry about another fight.
Great job, Zozo. Now let's return to base and get it equipped.
I got excited and I tried the power bracer on. It fit like a glove and I could feel the power already. We went back to our base afterwards. From day 40 to day 43, the Myrmex Queen and I decided to do a little bit more traveling. That villager we saved the other day had told us about a beach where we could get treasure, and that sounded just too good to pass up. The map we were given showed us the way to where the treasure was. We decided to take a route back through the Forgotten Forest, and that's where we encountered some more ghost-type Pokemon, a horde of skeletons. Hasn't the Dread Knight been catching ghost-type Pokemon? I'll bet these are his.
They can't beat us if we work together, Zozo.
Together, the Myrmex Queen and I reduced the Dread Knight skeletons to a bunch of bones. With all the upgrades I had gotten, it was no sweat. It looks like there was one we missed, and it's getting away. But I guess running from stronger Pokemon is what you'd expect them to do. We made our way out of the Forgotten Forest and into a rocky beach. This must have been the place where the treasure was. Sure enough, there was an open mining pit with a whole bunch of diamonds, ripe for the taking. Sweet! From day 44 to day 49, I was back home at my base, doing some training exercises by myself when Myrmex Queen showed up. Hi, Myrmex Queen!
Hi there, Zozo. I've done a bit more of my part to the statue. Do you mind adding some details to it when you get the chance?
Sure, I can actually do that right now. I went to the statue and began to add some special blocks in order to really make it look good. You can almost tell what it's going to be now. It'll be really exciting when it's complete. I worked on the statue for a bit longer before I noticed that a traveling trader had come to provide us with some hyper potions for the price of some emeralds.
These are some quality potions. You can trust me. Better than super potions, that's for sure.
We were running very low on healing items. I didn't have any emeralds on me, but luckily the queen had some and brought them from storage. That should do it. I bought the potions and thanked the trader for his service. The base was attacked again, right after he left by another dark Pokemon, a Wither. Good things I've been practicing my fighting moves. Hi-ya! Take that, evildoer! The Wither was defeated, but I knew I had to make sure the base was more defensible against enemy attacks. So I went and built a perimeter wall that would make it way more difficult for intruders to get in. From day 50 to day 53, I was collecting more supplies in a nearby prairie when one of the Myrmex workers from the base came and found me. He told me that the Myrmex queen had been captured by a Pokemon trainer. Probably not a very nice one either. The Myrmex queen was a good friend to me, so I knew that I had to go search for her. But I also knew that I would need some help. I decided to go talk to the smartest person I knew, Professor Oak. He was an expert in all things Pokemon, and he might know what kind of trainer I'm looking for too. Fortunately, he happened to be close by and researching the local Pokemon. Professor, please, I need your help.
What seems to be the trouble, Zozo?
The Myrmex queen was captured by a Pokemon trainer, and I need to find her.
That is rather troubling. I would suggest looking for the bug catcher. He's the kind of trainer that specializes in capturing bug-type Pokemon.
That sounds like it's worth a shot. Thank you, Professor. The professor had given me a clue I could use to possibly find my friend. I would save her no matter what, even if I had to fight more skeletons. Speaking of, oh boy! There were some more of the Dread Knight's ghost-type skeleton Pokemon hanging around, but at this point in my journey, battling them wasn't much of a challenge. This time, I defeated every one of them all by myself, and one of them dropped another rare candy. I had better hang on to that for later. From day 54 to day 57, I was in the Mojave Desert again, searching for the bug catcher who might have captured the Myrmex queen. The bug catcher took my friend. They must be the worst. And as if on cue, the Dread Knight jumped out.
I wouldn't say that. After all, they can't be worse than me. I'm the worst of the worst.
Dread Knight, what are you doing here?
I like tormenting you. Everyone knows that it is always best to capture a Pokemon when it's weak.
Not as weak as I used to be, and now I'll show you! I gave the Dread Knight a few good hits with my sword. He didn't seem to be that hurt by it, but I could tell I was doing a bit of damage.
You do have some fight. I guess I'll have to weaken you a bit more before I capture you.
He countered with a strong attack that took off half of my hearts. I wasn't going to defeat him at this rate, but at least I had put a scratch on him. Time to run away! I escaped from the Dread Knight and definitely didn't want to have another fight so soon. Fortunately, I found the same friendly villager who told me about the treasure. Have you seen a bug catcher anywhere? Now that you mention it, I think he was in the prairie not too long ago. Try over there. Thanks. I went to the prairie, but I didn't find the bug catcher or the Myrmex queen. I did find a bug catching net on the ground and one of the Myrmex queen's eggs. Oh no, it's true. The bug catcher has captured my friend. I wanted to go after him, but there was no sign of which way he went or where he might be now. From day 58 to day 62, I returned to my base, frustrated by the lack of leads when it came to rescuing the Myrmex queen. The Myrmex workers were worried sick about their queen. I had to set a good example, so I went mining for some stronger materials. I found more diamonds, and with these and the treasure I found on the beach, I was able to create a diamond helmet and diamond boots. With my remaining diamonds, I crafted a diamond sword to match my armor pieces. I knew they'd be much more useful if I enchanted them, so I built an enchanting area into the base so I could do just that. These diamond armor pieces will really boost my defense stats. I went back out searching for materials because items are just as important in Pokemon battles as abilities are. The underground cavern I was exploring was dark and full of rock and ground-type Pokemon. It also had a hidden treasure in the form of a battle axe. I gave the axe a few swings, and I could already tell how strong it was. I could do some really damaging moves with this thing. The battle axe worked really well on the rock types in the area, so I know it would prove effective on Gorgon too. I returned above ground to base and found that the Ghast was waiting for me.
I have escaped the Dread Knight, and I have some news for you.
What kind of news?
I've heard that the bug catcher is trying to become stronger so he can fight the Dread Knight. He's trying on the coast right now.
That actually helps. You're welcome to haunt the base. I'll be back later to help you settle in. For now, I'm gonna go save the queen. From day 63 to day 66, I gathered my strongest equipment and items and prepared to leave. While I was still there, Professor Oak showed up.
Hello, Zozo. Take this charged coal. You'll know when the right time to use this is.
Thanks, Professor. I might be gone for a while, so watch the base for me until I get back. I headed off in the direction of where the bug catcher was training. Like most Pokemon trainers, bug catcher seemed to move around a lot. Hopefully, I would reach where he was before he moved on to a new region. I didn't stick around too long in any of the places I went before, but I did encounter a Wither. Let's try out that charcoal. The charcoal made my fire attack stronger, and I was able to wipe out the Wither in a single fire attack. Wow, Zozo! That was an impressive fire-type attack. Do you think you could help me light up the fireplace in my house? What are friends for? The villager showed me his cabin at the oasis. I lit the fireplace up so that he could get comfortable and stay warm. That was really helpful. I'll sure to do something nice for you next time, friend. From day 67 to day 70, I found the bug catcher on the rocky beach, and the Myrmex Queen was with him. It looked like they were both in the middle of a Pokemon battle with the Dread Knight skeletons. Myrmex Queen, I traveled all this way to save you from the bug catcher.
Zozo, a friendly face! Give me a hand dealing with these skeletons!
I swung my diamond sword over and over at the skeletons, destroying them one by one. I am the Creeper Pokemon! Fear me! While Myrmex Queen and I battled, some of the skeletons snuck up behind the bug catcher and took him out.
Well, so much for that, trainer.
Didn't he capture you?
No, I went with him to try and trained to fight Dread Knight on my own.
You were training, like me?
I thought I could solve your problem for you, but I'm sorry for worrying you.
We're back together, and that's what matters. Nothing can keep friends like us apart. Now let's take apart the rest of these skeletons. With our combined strength, Myrmex Queen and I finished off the skeletons. The last one to fall dropped a spell tag, an enchantment which gives ghost-type power to items. I should use this later. From day 71 to day 74, I returned to the base with Myrmex Queen. We were greeted by Gast, who had decided to stay after all, and had even built a place for himself.
Looks like the rescue mission worked out.
Sure did. The Myrmex workers have their queen back now, and it looks like the base is now feeling a lot more like home.
Thank you for letting me live here, even though I said I didn't want to at first. Do you want to see the place I built?
Sure thing. The Gast took me to his ghost-type Pokemon room. It was full of spooky things and sort of made me want to eat candy. This looks awesome!
Professor Oak has also decided to move his research lab into the base. You should go see.
Sure enough, Professor Oak had created a place for himself inside the base.
I'm going to get so much work done here. Your base is very advanced, Zozo.
Wow, everyone has really stepped up their crafting game. I'd better do the same. I went mining for some more diamonds to complete my set of diamond armor and tools. I used the spell tag that the skeletons dropped to enchant my diamond sword with ghost-type energy called Lifesteal. When it was finished, I went to the outside of the base where the villager was waiting for me. Hey, Zozo, I decided I'd come over and say hello. Hi, villager! From day 75 to day 78, I followed the villager back to his cabin at the oasis. I had a feeling he was going to repay me for that time I helped him. Here, Zozo, I have a gift for you because you've been so nice to me. I knew it! Thanks! It's a moonstone. Try holding it and see how your power evolves. Oh, super awesome! I held the moonstone and instantly learned some more powerful moves to use in battle. I went outside and battled a few cockatrice to test out my powers. My fire breath had leveled up into a fire blast attack. Even fire types can't take the heat now. From day 79 to day 84, I made some minor improvements to the base. Now that everyone was calling it home, I had to make sure that everyone was taken care of. There were some spare materials lying around, so I crafted a set of iron armor for the Myrmex Queen.
Wow, thanks, Zozo. I guess I'm a bug type and a steel type now.
You've always helped me in battle, but now you'll have stronger defenses for when we fight the Dread Knight's stronger minions.
I'll do my best in our next battles. Thank you for thinking of me.
After I finished talking with the Myrmex Queen, I realized that improving the base had left me short of some key materials, so I went searching for them. While I was out in the rose fields, I encountered a familiar, unfriendly face. It was the Gorgon!
Your armor and weapons have changed, but you're still weak.
What do you know, Gorgon?
I know a lot more than you do about everything, including what Dread Knight is going to do next.
What is he gonna do next?
He'll become a Pokemon Master, of course. An evil Pokemon Master. Once he's done trying to capture weaklings like you.
You can call me weak all you want, Gorgon, but I don't need to prove anything to you. I'm going home. From day 85 to day 89, I left the Rose Field and returned to my base, where the Dread Knight was lying in wait.
Gorgon told me I needed to end our little cat and mouse game. So I've come here to capture you once and for all.
If it's a battle you want, it's a battle you'll get! The Dread Knight attacked with his usual opening move, but I was ready for it, so I dodged. I struck him back with my ghost-enchanted diamond sword. It seemed to deal some real damage.
A ghost weapon? Well, that's new. Guess I don't need to hold back.
His next strike was a brand new move I had never seen before. It left me completely defenseless. Oh no, what should I do? Then I remembered I was still carrying the charged coal that Professor Oak gave me. Maybe if I used it correctly, I could evolve. The last time I needed a rare candy for that, and I have one. I know, I'm gonna use them both at once. I activated the rare candy and the charged coal together, and suddenly I evolved into a brand new creeper Pokemon form with 80 hearts!
Evolution? And so strong as well?
I believe we have a battle to finish!
Some other time, Zozo.
The Dread Knight deployed his skeleton minions and ran away, but I was eager to test out my new powers on the Horde. I had a new signature move called Falling TNT, which dropped exploding TNT blocks on enemy Pokemon. Those skeletons were dust, and the base was completely safe. From day 90 to day 94, Myrmex Queen had almost completed the statue that she had been building the entire time. Wow, it's amazing, Myrmex Queen!
It'll be even more amazing after you add the finishing touches. I have confidence that you'll make this statue look as incredible as I know it will. No pressure.
It took a lot of materials, and I had to mine for more several times, but in the end, the statue stood triumphantly over the base. It was a statue of Arceus, the mightiest and most ancient creator god of all Pokemon. I am humbled to be in your presence, Arceus. Next on my list of things to do was help Professor Oak become stronger so that he could help me fight against the Dread Knight. I decided to give him a potion of strength.
Thank you. And speaking of potion, you should go get some more healing potions from that merchant. We have a few more emeralds, and that should be enough to seal the deal.
Good idea, Professor. This time I purchased Max Potions, the strongest form of healing potion available. From day 95 to day 97, I went back to the Rose Fields where I met Gorgon that one time. Her taunting distracted me, so I wasn't able to search the whole biome for materials. Uh-oh, it looks like some other ghost types are here. Zombie Pokemon! There were zombies everywhere! But because ghost types were actually weak against other ghost type attacks, my ghostly diamond sword was the perfect weapon to thin them out. That's right, shamble away! I continued to use ghost type attacks on the ones that got into melee range and used my falling TNT attacks to reduce their numbers. Eventually, I had defeated or driven away all the zombies in the Rose Field. When the battle was over, I noticed there was a special sword stuck into a stone. It was a netherite sword, and it was charged with even more ghostly power than my diamond sword. Oh, this is just what I was looking for. I took the sword with me and began to walk home to my base. On day 98, I was confronted by Gorgon just outside of my base.
This stops now, Creeper Pokemon Zozo. You have gone from a minor annoyance to the one thing that is stopping Dread Knight from becoming a Pokemon Master. I'm going to end you here and now for his sake.
Well, it was nice knowing you, Gorgon.
What?
I'm feeling like a one-hit KO! I drew my fighting battle axe, knowing it would be super effective against Gorgon, and with one single slash, I defeated her! Critical hit! Now that I'd defeated Gorgon, I knew the battle with Dread Knight would be coming, so I built the perimeter wall a bit higher and gathered my max potions.
Has the time arrived for you to face your destiny, Zozo?
I don't know about destiny, but I'm definitely ready to take down the Dread Knight.
Then allow me to come with you. That way I can record what a fully evolved creeper Pokemon looks like at its most powerful. After you win, of course.
And I will! The professor and I left the base, and soon we were on the road to the Dread Knight's evil Pokemon gym. This had been quite a journey, and if you want to see more of my adventures, remember to search ZOZO to find more videos and subscribe so you can always know when I upload next. On day 99, we arrived at the Red Rock Highlands, which is where we found the Dread Knight's evil Pokemon gym.
The challenge will begin as soon as we enter his lair. Are you still ready to face him, Zozo?
From the moment I spawned into this world, I knew I'd have to fight. I'm ready as ever, Professor.
and let's head inside.
Suddenly, the professor and I were ambushed by more of the ghost-type skeletons. Not these guys again! They surrounded us. These must have been the highest level Pokemon that the Dread Knight has. I could handle them myself, but Professor Oak was a professor, not a Pokemon. He was in serious trouble.
Go on, Zozo. This may look like a troublesome situation, but I'm Professor Oak. I've seen far more rare and dangerous Pokemon than this and survived. The only thing that is different this time is that I don't want to slow you down.
Professor!
Go! I'll manage somehow. Go defeat Dread Knight. He must not become an evil Pokemon Master.
I didn't want to leave the professor, but I could tell that he was serious, so I braced myself and ran directly into the gym where I would soon come face to face with the Dread Knight. On day 100, I was face to face with the Dread Knight.
Oh, it's you, Zozo.
No more running, Dread Knight, for either of us. No matter who wins or loses, this will be the last battle that we ever have. I'm not backing down.
A Pokemon cannot hope to stand against a master. I will show you the true meaning of fear. You don't have a ghost of a chance against me.
No more puns either. We clashed weapons, and I was glad that I brought my netherite sword. It was the perfect weapon to use in this battle. I was able to make the Dread Knight move back out from melee range and launch my Fire Blast attack. Now that had to hurt.
It's not very effective, you foolish creeper Pokemon.
Rats! I thought I had him.
I'm going to use my own signature move now. See if you can dodge it.
The Dread Knight created a Shadow Ball, even more powerful than his skeleton guards, and he launched it straight at me. I dodged out of the way, knowing that one hit from that would KO me.
Say good night, Zozo. Get it? Because I'm a knight.
That's your worst pun yet, Dread Knight.
It was Professor Oak. He had come to help. He threw a Pokeball, and instantly it absorbed the Dread Knight's power.
Now's your chance, Zozo. He could only use that move by becoming a ghost type himself. Strike him down.
Right, take this, Dread Knight. I delivered the final blow with my netherite sword. With the battle finally over, I was a free Pokemon. Well, I guess Professor Oak would be able to come up with quite the Pokedex entry for this creeper Pokemon. On day 1, I spawned in as a baby robot. Whoa, I'm a tiny robot, but where am I? Why am I in a cage? I looked around and saw there were a couple other bigger robots nearby. They must be my parents. I decided I would go ask them what we were doing here. But before I had a chance to ask them, the door to the cage opened and a giant rat walked into the cage.
Alright, you junkers, time to get to work.
We're tired of taking orders from you. We can't stand by and watch this factory pollute the world any longer.
You think you can rise up against us? Sounds like I need to teach you a lesson, pal.
The rat lunged forward and started fighting my robot dad. As they were fighting, my robot mom came up next to me.
Zozo, the door is open. Move quickly and get out of here. We will hold him off.
But I don't understand. Why are we working for this guy? What are we doing here?
There's no time to explain, but he isn't even the one in charge of everything. I hope you never run into his boss. Now hurry, get out of here.
My mom hurried away to help fight off the rat, and I took the chance to rush out the door and escape. As I drove away, I turned around and saw the rat destroy my dad. Dad, no! I thought about going back, but I noticed I only had 6 hearts. If I was captured or killed, my dad's sacrifice would be in vain. As I drove away, I noticed that I had just escaped from a huge factory. There were big pillars of smoke coming out of it, which must have been causing all of the yellow haze. I better get out of here before that rat shows up, or worse, his boss. I was driving away when suddenly I started beeping, and my battery started to drain. Oh no, my battery's going to run out in 30 seconds! What's going on? In a panic, I backed up into the sunlight and saw that my battery immediately started to recharge and returned to full. Whew, that was scary. I must be a solar-powered robot. I'll have to be sure to stay in the light when I'm out and about. I soon found a good place to build a shelter for the night and quickly put up some walls. I made sure to leave the roof open so I could power back up in the morning. On day 2, I woke up to a full battery and sunlight coming into my shelter. Looks like my shelter kept me safe through the night, but I have a lot I need to figure out today, starting with rescuing my mom, if she's alive. I knew I wouldn't be able to get back into the factory without gearing up first, which is when I noticed that my arm was a permanent drill. I'll bet I can break all kinds of blocks with this arm. I'm going to try and go get some supplies. I stepped outside my base when I was suddenly attacked by some kind of tiny animal. Ah, what the heck are you? Get back! I swung my drill arm and quickly defeated the enemy. That looked like some kind of mutated bunny. I wonder where he came from. I'll have to keep an eye out. I headed over to a nearby hill where there were some trees growing and collected some wood and stone. Then I set up a crafting table and made an axe, shovel, and sword. My drill arm was pretty handy though.
so I decided to start building a mine inside my base. I drilled into the ground and saw I was able to break a bunch of blocks at once. Whoa, mining is going to be a breeze. I was digging down and my battery alarm went off again. I was so excited about my drill, I almost forgot I had to stay in the sun. Luckily, I was able to get out before the timer ran out too quickly. Looks like I'm gonna have to be a lot more strategic every time I want to leave the sun. On day 3, I decided to venture out a little further to see if I could find some more supplies. I knew I still wasn't strong enough to break my mom out. As I got closer to a nearby cave, I saw something strange inside. What is that? It looks like there's a deactivated robot in there. Their battery must have run out. As I got closer to investigate, I was attacked by a mutant pig. Whoa, get back! The mutant pig had come out of nowhere, but I was able to quickly fight them off. As they disappeared, I saw a whole horde of pigs coming over the hill. I better get out of here. As I was driving away, I couldn't help but wonder what was happening to all of the animals and who was in that cave. Maybe they would be able to help me in the fight. I'd have to try and come check on them later. On days 4 and 5, I was running away when I stumbled across a small farming village, but noticed none of their crops really seemed to be growing. I decided to try and get more information, so I headed to the house at the top of the hill. Hello, is anyone home? The door opened and a farmer stepped out. Hey there, I'm trying to find out what's going on around here. What's wrong with your crops? She explained that the smog coming from the factory was killing all of her crops. Not only that, the smog was also turning all the animals into mutated versions of themselves. She explained that the only way would be to take out the factory's boss, Fat Cat, but everyone was too scared to get close to the factory, so she didn't know any good ways to do that. Well, I've been there once. I can try and get close and see what I can find out. Thanks for your help. I drove off in the direction of the factory. Hopefully I could learn something new before trying to break in. On days 6 to 8, I started making my way back towards the factory. As I reached the top of the hill, I ran into a mutated sheep. Ah, another one! Take this, you creepy sheepy! By using my sword, I was able to take it down. That farmer was right. The smog is making all the animals crazy. I kept going on my way when I ran into a zombie. As I started to attack him, I noticed he had something interesting in his hand. Are those robot tracks? I'm sure you won't mind me taking those off your hands. After a few hits, he was down, and I was right. He dropped a new set of tracks. I picked them up. Oh, nice! These Mark 1 tracks will give me an armor upgrade. Oh, and check it out! They gave me a speed boost, too! Now I'll be able to get farther on my limited battery. On days 9 to 10, I rolled up to the gates of the factory and took a look inside. I don't see much on this side. The workers must be inside. I'll go see if there's anything on the other side. As I got closer to the other side, I could see someone in a suit yelling at a robot. That suit, it must be Fat Cat. I looked into the yard and saw who he was shouting at. It was my mom.
We know you helped that little robot escape. You're gonna work overtime until we find him.
My mom didn't say anything. She was so brave. If I was going to help her though, I was going to need to find a way to get in. Just then, I heard some pistons moving and snuck over to where I heard the noise. As I peeked over the edge, I saw an opening in the wall of one of the guard towers, and a couple of rats were talking outside.
What do you think of my secret door? Pretty nifty, huh? Now we can sneak out and skip work. Nobody will know.
I still wasn't strong enough to fight, but knowing this will help me sneak in the future. As I turned to leave though, my new track squeaked, getting the attention of the rats.
Hey, what was that?
The rats rushed over to where I was hiding, but thanks to my new speed, I was able to get away without them seeing me. Don't worry, Mom. I'll come back for you. On days 11 through 14, I was heading back to my base when I realized the sun was starting to set. I started putting together a small hut to protect me for the night when I was suddenly attacked by a giant mutated zombie. Holy cow, this guy is huge! I started to build even faster but couldn't focus as I had to keep running away from the zombie. If he keeps chasing me, I'm not going to be able to finish my house before the sun goes down. The sun kept going down and my battery soon started to beep, starting the 30-second countdown. Oh no, if I could just finish. As much as I tried, I couldn't finish the house. All I could do was jump into the unfinished build and hope for the best. My battery let out a final beep, and I deactivated it. On day 15, I awoke to an unfamiliar face looking at me.
Huh?
Good morning, little friend. How are you feeling?
What happened? Who are you?
Don't be alarmed. My name is Gary, and I'm here to help. I managed to grab you before that zombie could rip you to pieces.
Thank you. You saved me. Whoa, and what's this? Did you upgrade my battery?
I did. I wish I could do more, but I only had parts on hand to give you a 60-second charge when you're out of the sun.
Wow, that's great. How did you know how to do that? The old man sighed before heading into his story.
My wife and I actually used to work at the factory building robots just like you. It was a clean, safe place for everyone, and the factory didn't produce the pollution that you see today. But then one day Fat Cat showed up and turned it into the mess you see now. He mistreats the robots and makes them work non-stop, which causes the factory to pollute the land. My wife and I had to flee for our safety. We planned to save the land from the factory, but my wife got sick and wanted to spend her last days growing her flower garden. But nothing would stay alive. She passed away soon after. I can't take Fat Cat down by myself, and everyone else is too afraid to help. But if you are willing to work with me, I think we can do it.
I'm so sorry to hear about everything you've gone through. Fat Cat has taken enough from us. Let's take this guy down. On days 16 to 19, I left Gary's house and went to find a good place to build myself a base of operations. After a little bit of searching, I found a good spot to start building. I first cleared out the land, then got to work laying the foundation of the house. Then I put up walls to keep the mutants out, and finally put up the base itself, making sure to leave windows in the ceiling for light to get in. Once that was finished, I filled the interior with everything I would need. Home sweet home. I hope this can be a place of safety for anyone who wants to help in our fight. That reminded me, what happened to that robot I saw in the caves? If I could just get a little stronger, I could fight my way past those mobs and see what was going on. On days 20 to 22, I woke up to sheep sounds outside my base. Oh nice, I could use their wool to build some things. I hurried to my base door and saw a bunch of mutant sheep outside. Oh right, I forgot everything here was green. Oh well, good to know my walls kept them out. I opened the door and started to fight them. I noticed a little mutant bunny was also joining in on the fight. How'd you get mixed up with these bad people? I finished them all off, no problem. After the fight, I could feel a power surge and I suddenly grew into a bigger robot. Alright, I even gained 4 more hearts. I looked closer at my drill. It now had a diamond tip. I decided to go and give it a test. Looks like I can break blocks even faster than before. This is great. On days 23 to 27, I left my base to try and look for that robot in the cave. I had no idea if they would still be there, but maybe they could help in our fight against Fat Cat. Since I had just gotten my new upgrades, it felt like the right time to try again. Before I got back to the cave, I stopped by an abandoned mine shaft I had seen earlier. I'm going to need a way to transport the robot back, so I can take these old rails to do it. I soon gathered up all the rails and found myself looking over the cliff to the cave. It looked like the robot was still in there, so I rushed down the hill and attacked the mutant pigs. I'm not gonna run away this time. They put up a good fight, but my new abilities were too much for them. I fought as hard as I could and won. Finally, now I can get this robot out of here. Looks like they're deactivated. I quickly laid down some tracks, got the robot into a minecart, and started heading back to the base. On days 28 to 32, I arrived back at the base, and I saw Gary had moved a lot of his supplies in. This will help us coordinate our plans much easier. Gary, I found this robot out in a cave. Do you think you can help her?
Oh, I recognize this model. They call her Eve.
Gary took a look and could immediately tell what was wrong.
Yep, looks like her battery's fried. She must have been caught out in the wilderness.
So what can we do? Do you think you can fix her?
Not with the supplies I have on hand, but I know of a warehouse in the desert that used to have the components. I can tell you where to go to find it.
Gary told me where to go, but before I left, I made some improvements to the base. I added a second layer to the walls and got to work on building Gary a house to work out of. Everything was looking great, and I even built a working drawbridge. No one is going to be breaking into here. On days 33 to 36, I was getting ready to leave when Gary stopped me and said he had something to ask me.
Zozo, I had a question to ask you. Why are you so nice to everyone?
Well, I wish I could take all the credit, but there's a robot I really look up to who has inspired me to be nice and always try and help. He's a sassy dude, but in the end, he always does the right thing.
That's great. I think we should build a statue of this robot as a symbol to everyone, but they're still good in this world.
That would be a great idea. I rushed out and was able to find some non-mutated sheep to use for the build. I led them back to the base and put them in a pen I had made. Then I got to work on the statue. I started with the base, then moved on to the statue itself. After a while, I had finished the first part. This is coming along great. I hope you're enjoying it so far too. If you like what you're seeing, be sure to subscribe to the channel. That way, you'll never miss my next adventure. On days 37 to 40, I entered the desert to begin my journey to the warehouse. I can already feel the temperature rising, but that means lots of sunlight for my battery. As I made my way toward a small hill, I heard a strange sound up ahead. I wonder what that could be. As I came over the hill, I saw a group of mutant horses who attacked me. This feels so wrong to be fighting horses. But you guys aren't as nice as your non-mutant brothers. After a tough fight, I was able to finish them off. I made it through, but these mobs were getting tougher. I'm gonna have to find a good spot to build a camp and craft some upgrades. Who knows what could be waiting for me at the warehouse. On days 41 to 43, I found a nice spot against the cliff full of ores. Whoa, look at all these ores. I can use these to give myself an upgrade. I also noticed there was a nice spot in the corner where I could build a camp. I quickly laid down some blocks for a foundation and then set up all the tools I would need. Then I worked on building the walls and finished it up with a glass ceiling. With the base set up, I headed over to the ore deposit and mined out some gold and some iron. I can use this iron to upgrade my armor, and I've got a special item in mind for the gold. I quickly smelted down all the iron in my blast furnace, then got started smelting all the gold. Then I made an iron chestplate, iron leggings, and an iron helmet. With the leftover iron, I decided to make myself an iron sword, axe, shovel, and hoe as well. To finish up, I then made a gold block, which I then mixed with some gold bars in my tire tracks. This let me upgrade my tracks to the Mark II version, which gave me even more protection than before. Wow. I feel like I can take on anything now. Let's go find that warehouse. From days 44 to 49, I left my house to finally find the warehouse. After a while, I could finally see it. That must be it. I hope the parts we need are inside. As I entered the building, I could see the place was in ruins. This place has been completely picked apart. It looks like I might just have to head home and figure something else out.
Hey, you!
A little rat came running over to me. What could he want? What do you want? Aren't you working with Fat Cat?
No, not at all. You think rats want to work with cats? That giant rat has betrayed all rat kind, and I want to take him out. You think you can help?
It sounds like we want the same thing, but how do I know I can trust you?
You came here to this warehouse because you're looking for something, right? The giant rat cleaned all these warehouses out and moved everything to his base. I can show you where it is.
I didn't know if I could trust him, but I agreed to work with him, so we headed off to the base. On days 50 to 53, the rat and I were traveling when a gazelle called out to us from a village. It looked like something was wrong. Hey, what's going on? She told us that a group of husks were attacking their village and they needed our help. If we would help them, she would give me something useful. I'm always happy to do what I can. She led us into the village and I charged at the husks. The rat even joined in on the fight. Maybe I could trust him after all. It wasn't long until we had eliminated all of the husks. And stay down. The gazelle thanked us for our help and told us to follow her to the village workshop. When we arrived, she told me to take what was inside the chest. Whoa, are these blueprints on how to build a focus lens? If I can build that, then I could use it to redirect light into deep holes for mining. On days 54 to 57, I decided I would construct a lens and try to mine for diamonds. I first needed to gather some resources though, so I headed out into the desert. While I was on my way, I was suddenly attacked by a gang of mutant cats. These mutant animals are just getting weirder and weirder. I noticed there was a little mutant bird fighting along them too. A bird fighting with cats and rats are working with Fat Cat? This world is crazy. After beating the mutants, I got to work digging up some sand to make glass. Once I had collected all the sand I needed, I headed back to my base and started smelting the sand. Alrighty, time to start building this lens. I constructed 2 pillars for the base, then put the lens together using the glass I had just smelted. There was a shadow on the ground for now, but once I turned the lens, that should disappear. Okay, let's see if this thing works. I headed over to the activate button and gave it a press. As the lens rotated, I saw the shadow on the ground disappear. I quickly got to work digging a deep hole. It's nice to not have to worry about my battery running out. Once I started to hit bedrock, I built an angled mirror at the bottom so I could do some strip mining. The mirror was able to reflect enough light for me to be able to start mining to the side. Before long, I mined into a room full of diamonds. Amazing, this is just what I needed. I quickly mined all of the ores that I could and then headed out of the mine to craft. On days 58 to 62, I headed into my base to start crafting with the new materials I had just mined. I noticed that while I had been down in the mines, the rat had made himself a small hut off to the side of my base. Pretty cozy. Back at my crafting table, I made a diamond chestplate, helmet, and leggings. With the remaining diamonds, I also made myself a sword. Feels good to know this armor will keep me safer than before. The fight against Giant Rat will be a tough one. On days 63 to 66, I met the rat outside my base. Before we get going, is there anything else that I need to know?
Yeah, you'll need all the support you can get, so anyone who is listening to this should subscribe and like the video. That ought to give you the strength you need.
That's true, that would help a ton. The rat and I headed off to go fight the giant rat. We soon left the desert and entered the Badlands. As we made our way, we suddenly saw a pack of mutant wolves headed right at us. Mutant wolves now? This just doesn't even surprise me anymore. The rat and I launched into attack mode and fought against the pack. The rat was proving to be a good teammate and we were able to defeat them in no time. Nice job, I feel like we're making a great team. On days 67 to 70, we made our way to the edge of a cliff overlooking the giant rat's warehouse. Whoa, do you see that? Running into the warehouse was a huge pack of rats, all carrying different pieces of loot. We were definitely in the right place. All right, buddy, what's the best way in? I waited for the rat to reply, but he didn't say anything. Suddenly, I heard a bunch of squeaking and saw the pack of rats come streaming out of the building. They were headed right towards us. He had betrayed us. No, I thought you were my friend. Soon the rats were on me and I tried to fight them off. Oh no, there's so many of them. I don't know if I can get out of this one. I managed to take a few of them out, but it felt like a fight I couldn't win. And I was right. The rats injected me with something that depleted my battery, and I shut down. While I was shut down, the rats pushed me down the hill into the warehouse and locked me away in a cell. On days 71 to 74, I started the day deactivated in the jail cell, when suddenly there was a huge explosion in the ceiling. The roof blew away, which let light come in, recharging my battery to full. As I turned back on, I saw Gary jump in from the ceiling. Gary, you're here!
Come on, Zozo, let's get you out of here.
Gary set some TNT by the jail doors and blew a hole in the bars. As we jumped through, we were attacked by the gang of rats. You guys aren't going to shut me down again. With Gary's help, we were able to fight off the horde of rats, but since we were out of the sun, my battery had started to deplete again.
Don't worry, Zozo, I've got a solution to your battery problem.
Gary took out his bazooka and blasted a hole in the roof, which let the sun come in. I quickly recharged.
Let's take a look in these supply closets. I'm sure there's going to be some useful items.
Gary and I started looking at all the crates, and there were tons of useful items. Netherite scraps. I can use this to upgrade my gear. I went ahead and grabbed the emeralds too, just for good measure. We continued moving through the warehouse, with Gary blowing holes in the roof as we went. In the next room, we found even more supplies. More netherite scraps and healing potions. Whoa, and check it out, gold nuggets. Just what I need to make some netherite ingots. We'd gotten some good loot, but we still needed to get parts to fix Eve. There was only one place we hadn't checked, Giant Rat's office. On days 75 to 78, we reached the Giant Rat's office. Watch out, Rat Man, we're coming in. I punched the door open and headed inside with Gary. Giant Rat was inside on his desk. Eve's battery was on the wall behind him. Give us the battery, or we're going to have to take you out too.
This battery powers the one robot with the code to shut down Fat Cat's factory. You found it, didn't you? I know where your little base is. Once I've taken care of you, I'll destroy that little robot once and for all.
We'll never let you destroy her. We're taking that battery and shutting the factory down. Just then, the giant rat leaped forward and started attacking Gary. We both pulled out our weapons and started to fight. Stay strong, Gary. We can beat this guy. The giant rat was really powerful, and my health bar got really low. But in the end, we were finally able to defeat him. We did it. Nice job, Gary. Let's grab the battery and get out of here. Gary? I turned and saw that Gary had been seriously wounded. Gary, you don't look so good. Come on, let's get you some help.
There's no time, Zozo, but there's something you should know first. I was the one that hid the robot Eve away. She needed to be in a safe place. I thought telling you what code she contained would put you in too much danger.
The more he spoke, the worse he looked. It's okay. Maybe you should sit down. Gary slumped down against the wall.
You've been a great friend, Zozo. I know you can do this. She would have loved you too.
She?
I had hoped to see her flowers bloom one more time. My wife. Her name was Eve.
Gary put his head down and he was gone. Thank you for everything, Gary. I won't let you down. On day 79 to 84, I grabbed the battery off the wall and left the office. I couldn't believe Gary was gone. As I headed down the stairs, I heard a familiar voice.
So now that the giant rat is gone, you need a new leader. And that leader should be me.
This whole time that rat was just trying to take over the rats. I couldn't let this stand. You cost me everything. I charged down the stairs and attacked the rat. I was so angry I was able to defeat him in no time. All the other rats were so scared they didn't even try to get involved. I've got to get this battery back to Eve and shut down the factory. I headed out to return to the base. On days 85 to 89, I arrived back at the base and put Eve's battery pack in. After a moment, she booted up and looked right at me.
Hello, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Zozo. Gary told me that you should have code to shut down the Fat Cat factory. Is that true?
That is correct. I would be happy to assist you with doing so. Where is Gary? I would love to see my creator again.
He didn't make it, but he would have wanted us to work together.
I see. I'm sorry to hear it, but I agree. Gary and Eve are my best friends, and I'm sure we will be good friends too.
I agree, which reminds me, do you think you could help me with something? Eve and I headed outside, and I got her help finishing the robot statue. Finishing the statue gave me the courage to be brave. Brave like my robot hero, and brave like Gary. Before long, the statue was complete. This looks amazing. Thanks for all of your help, Eve. From there, I went to work on building Eve a place to stay as well. I made sure to give her everything she needed to be comfortable. Once I finished the outside, I worked on decorating the inside with all the tools she'll need. With everything complete, I just had one more task to finish. Using the nether scraps and gold I had collected, I made a netherite ingot. Then, I used that to upgrade my diamond sword. Nothing's gonna stop us now. On days 90 to 94, I decided I should go through Gary's room to see if there was anything he may have had to help us in the final fight. As I was looking around, I came across Gary's diary. His last entry confirmed his plan to follow me to the warehouse. Under that entry was a note meant for me.
If you're reading this, I didn't make it. Last thing I need to tell you is that Eve knows how to do something special. She can also craft a battery for you. With such a battery, you can function without the need for sunlight.
Wow, what an amazing gift. I'll go ask her. I headed back out and found Eve. I asked her about the battery.
Let me check my data logs. Scanning. Oh yes, I found the recipe. Right this way.
Eve grabbed some supplies from a chest, then headed over to the crafting table. Moments later, we headed outside, and she tossed the new battery pack to me. I put it in. I immediately felt a power surge and turned into a giant robot. My battery pack showed it was upgraded too. Whoa, look at me. I feel great. Fat Cat isn't gonna know what hit him. On days 95 to 96, I headed outside to meet up with Eve. Today's the day, Eve. Let's go save the world. Eve and I took off in the direction of the factory. After a while, we arrived near the edge. Looking ahead, I could see some rats patrolling the perimeter. Once they had passed, we snuck up to the hidden entrance I had seen before. If we hit this button, it will let us inside. I hit the button and Eve and I snuck inside. Once we were in, we didn't see anyone else around. It looks like the coast is clear. Let's see if we can get to the robots inside. As we ran across the open space, we heard a squeak. A single rat guard was standing there. Maybe he can tell us where the robots are. Hey, don't move and we won't hurt you. Where are all the robots?
Fat Cat gathered them all in the incinerator room. He's threatening to melt them all down because one lady robot keeps trying to lead revolts.
That sounds like my mom. Thanks for the tip. We can't risk you giving us away though, so I'm sure you won't mind us locking you up. Eve shot a rat net at him, which put him in a rat sack. I picked him up and put him in my safety compartment. Come on, let's get to the incinerator room. On days 97 to 98, we entered the incinerator room and saw my mom dangling above the lava pit. We have to save her. Hang on, Mom, we'll get you out. I looked across the room and saw a lever that controlled the device, but then I noticed a rat on the other side of the room watching us. He ran towards the lever. Oh, no, you don't. I ran toward the rat while Eve started shooting her laser cannon. It was a close one, but we managed to take him out before he could pull the switch.
Zozo, is it really you?
Mom, I'm so glad to see you're still alive. Where are all the other robots? We have to get everyone out.
Fat Cat is keeping them locked in the next room over. I can get them out, but I don't know how we'll get out of here unnoticed.
There's a secret entrance that we use to get in. You guys can use that to escape.
Thank you, Zozo, and be safe. Fat Cat will be in the main factory. I love you. Good luck.
On day 99, we left the incinerator room and made our way towards the main factory. On our way toward the factory doors, we heard a terrifying voice.
Well, if it isn't little Zozo.
Fat Cat was looking down at us from the factory's second-story window. Fat Cat, the madness has to stop. We're shutting down this factory one way or another.
We'll see about that. Rat Pack, attack!
Just then, the largest pack of rats I had ever seen came charging at us. This must have been every rat in the factory. Time to see how good my upgrades really were. Bring it on, you little creeps. Eve and I threw everything we had at the rats. With my new abilities, these rats didn't stand a chance. Eve shot them with her laser cannon, and I hit them back with my new gear. Before long, we had managed to take most of them out, which made the remaining rats all run away in fear. Yeah, you better run. Eve and I walked up to the factory door, but before going in, I turned to talk to Eve. Eve, I could really use your help in this fight, but we can't risk you getting hurt. We need you to stay safe so you can shut down the factory.
I understand. And Zozo, there's something else I want to say before you go in there.
Yeah, what is it?
I know you'll make it through this, and I just think everyone should subscribe so they can see what you'll do next.
Wow, that really means a lot to me, Eve. Thank you. I'll see you when it's all done. On day 100, I entered the factory and saw Fat Cat looking down at me from the second-story balcony.
It's over, Zozo. I have the high ground.
What?
This little revolution ends today. I don't care how many rats you kill or how many robots you free. I'll never shut this place down.
And just like that, he attacked. As we exchanged blows, it was clear to me that he was way stronger than I could have thought.
You could have had a great life working in my factory and making me rich, but it looks like it's over for you.
My hearts were getting really low. It didn't look like I was going to make it. But just then, a laser came out of nowhere and hit Fat Cat. Eve! Eve came in and started fighting with Fat Cat, which gave me a second to use my potions and heal up. Then I got back into the fight. You're in trouble now, Fat Cat. As I started to fight, I was able to distract Fat Cat and lead him away. While I did that, Eve snuck around to the main factory shutoff and input her code.
No, my factory!
Suddenly, Fat Cat stopped moving and a tiny cat popped out. He was a cat in a robot suit this whole time.
There he is, boys! Get him!
The pack of rats appeared and chased Fat Cat out of the factory. We did it, Eve! I'm sure the world will return back to normal in no time. Now let's go find my mom. We have a lot of catching up to do. I think Gary would have been proud. On day 1, I dropped into the world as THOR. Whoa, I'm THOR, but why am I a baby? Before I could think about it too much, a portal opened next to me, and I saw my dad Odin standing inside. Dad, what's going on?
Zozo, we don't have much time. Gore the God Butcher has released his skeleton army on us. They are attacking Asgard, and sending you through this portal was the best I could do to keep you safe. I don't know why you're a baby, but I need you to find your hammer Mjolnir. Find your hammer, and I'll hold him off.
A giant skeleton appeared behind Odin, and they started to fight. Odin is really strong, but the giant skeleton was putting up a strong fight. I couldn't tell who was winning.
Go now, Zozo, and hurry!
The portal suddenly closed and I was alone. Okay, I can do this. I need to find my hammer and help my dad. And while I do that, I'll need to work on powering up my baby form. I'm sure my hammer can't be too far away, so I'll start by getting some supplies together to help me look. On day 2, I headed down the mountain, but I had no idea where to get started looking for my hammer. As I headed down the mountain though, I saw a boar. Looks like lunch. I'm not going to find my hammer on an empty stomach. I didn't have my hammer, or any other weapons for that matter, but I was the god of thunder. I bet I can take this thing on with my bare hands. I threw some punches and took him out, but not without losing a couple hearts. Okay, maybe I'm being a little cocky. I am a baby after all. I'll go work on getting some tools. I headed over to some nearby trees and started collecting wood. Once I had collected enough wood, I made a crafting table. Then I used the rest of the wood to make a wooden pickaxe. A wooden pickaxe is only good for one thing, and that's getting stone to make a stone pickaxe. So I headed over to the mountain and mined out some stone. Then I ran back to the crafting table and made a stone pickaxe. It's no Mjolnir, but it'll have to do for now. I wanted to collect some more food, so I headed back over to the mountains to kill some more boars. Using my new pickaxe, I was able to take a few of them out, no problem. I was even able to do it without taking any damage. I was going to have a full belly, but I still had several things I needed to accomplish before I could start exploring the mountainside. I needed to be quick though. I didn't know how long my dad could hold off the skeletons, or worse, Gore the God Butcher, whoever that is. On day 3, I started clearing out an area for me to build my base of operations. I'm sure it will take some time to find Mjolnir, so I need to make sure I have a good base to store all my gear, as well as anything else I find along the way. In addition to the wood I collected, I also made sure I headed back over to the mountain to get some more stone, as I would need it to help build my base and other supplies. It looks like I've got everything I need. Time to start building my base of operations. I started with a strong stone foundation and then used wood to fill out the rest of it. I wasn't going to need anything huge to start with, so this was going to work great. I was inside my base when I suddenly heard a strange noise outside. I walked outside to see what caused it, and Loki appeared out of nowhere.
Hello, brother.
Loki, what are you doing here?
I'm here to rescue you, as always.
I'm pretty sure I've never needed your help rescuing me. I am definitely the one who does all the rescuing.
Oh, so you don't want to know more about your hammer? I guess I won't tell you anything then.
Okay, what do you know?
Well, there's good news and bad news. Asgard is safe, for now.
Oh good, Dad was able to defeat the skeletons.
Not exactly. The skeletons and Gore are no longer attacking Asgard because they were teleported to this realm. Now they're looking for Mjolnir too, as they believe it will help them portal back to Asgard.
Great, so I don't just have to find my hammer, but I have to find it before a bunch of skeletons and a god butcher? I don't suppose you would like to help. But instead of answering, Loki turned and started to disappear.
You're the god of thunder. I'm sure you'll be great. Bye.
And that is why you can never trust the god of mischief. On days 4 to 5, I decided I couldn't waste any more time, so I started to explore the mountains. I was hoping I would be able to find someone who might have a clue to where my hammer could be. I was walking through the forest when I came across a group of lumberjacks. Greetings, mortals. I have a question for you. The lumberjacks didn't look so good. They were coming at me with an axe. They were zombies. Whoa there, back off. I used my stone axe to take out the first one, who dropped an iron axe. I then used that to take out the rest of them. Well, those guys weren't very helpful, but even lumberjacks had to have lived somewhere. Maybe there's a village nearby. On days 6 to 8, I was running through the woods when I saw a village up ahead. Perfect, someone there might be able to help me. As I reached the outskirts of the village though, I could tell something was off. The village was completely deserted. Not only that, the buildings were run down and covered in cobwebs. What happened here?
Curious, isn't it?
Loki had come out of nowhere. Loki, where did you come from? Why are you being so weird and mysterious?
Well, it's my brand after all. And before you ask, no, I don't know what happened here. I'm actually just as confused as you are about what's been going on.
Well, I'm gonna go take a look. Feel free to come along and help. I headed into the village and saw Loki had disappeared. No surprise there. I checked the first house and started looking in the chests, but they were full of cobwebs. I kept looking and soon came across a chest with some wood planks inside. Well, it's nothing special, but these could come in handy later. I headed into another house and saw something floating above an anvil in the room ahead of me. Could that be my hammer? I ran forward and picked it up. It was just a normal iron hammer. Oh shoot, it's just a regular hammer. But still, it feels better to have this than nothing. I'll keep using this in the meantime. I then made my way to the mead hall and checked the chest next to the throne. Whoa, check it out, it's full of gold. I might be able to craft something useful with this later. I then crawled onto the throne and thought about my dad in Asgard. This will be a good place to rest. Hopefully I can find some more clues tomorrow. On days 9 to 10, I woke up to the sound of something outside the mead hall. I quickly ran up the stairs and looked over the balcony. It's Loki, and he's being followed by a gang of skeletons. I've got to help him. I was about to rush down to fight when someone else suddenly appeared. It looked like the elite skeleton guard, and someone else was next to him. That must be Gore.
Take him prisoner and search the village. His brother could be nearby.
I had just gotten a new weapon, but there was no way I could take on all of them in my current state. All I could do was run into the storage room and hope they didn't find me. On day 11, I slowly made my way out of the storage room after what had felt like a lifetime. I made my way up into the mountains where it started to snow heavily. This weather is getting bad, I better stop and make a camp for the night. Using the wood I had collected in the village, I quickly made a small hut to keep me safe. When the hut was finished, I set up a campfire outside and sat down in front of it. I know Loki is an oddball, but he's still my brother. It's not fair that he got captured. I'm also not any closer to finding Mjolnir. I don't think I can do this. Suddenly, the flames grew brighter, and a vision of Odin appeared in the flames.
My son, do not lose hope. You are a god, but that is not what makes you great. Everyone has the gift of greatness within them, but all people must choose what they will do with that gift. You can let it guide you, or you can hide it away. God or not, you can become what you wish to be, but you must make the choice. No one will make it for you.
I understand. I can work through this. It will take time. Do you know anything of Mjolnir? If I'm going to be successful, I have to stop Gore from getting his hands on the hammer.
Everything has not been revealed to me, but I know it is somewhere deep and somewhere dark. You must take caution. It is guarded by a creature in chains. Take heart and carry on. You will find your way.
Then, just as suddenly as he appeared, Odin disappeared into the flames. Okay, I think I can do this. Somewhere deep and dark. A dungeon, maybe. I'll keep an eye out. On days 12 through 15, I left my camp and headed over the mountain pass. I decided to keep searching the countryside in hopes of finding some more clues. As I made my way over the mountain, I noticed a group of skeletons gathered in the distance. I don't see Gore or the elite skeleton guard. This must be a scouting party. I decided to take these guys on and see if I could learn anything. I came charging across the land as the skeletons quickly turned and came at me. This one is for my brother. By using my new iron hammer, I was able to quickly take care of the first couple of skeletons. The other ones tried charging at me too, but they were no match for my hammer skills. As the last skeleton faded, I felt electricity start to course through my veins. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning came from the sky, and I turned into Thunderstrike, a teenage version of myself. Whoa, I'm no longer a baby, and check it out, now I have 10 hearts. I was so excited about my new upgrade, I almost didn't notice a map laying amongst the skeleton bones. What's this? I picked it up and saw it was a map leading to where they were holding Loki. It's not a map to Mjolnir, but at least I'll be able to help Loki. On days 16 to 19, I headed back to my base to prepare. I was sure they would have some serious fortifications guarding Loki, and I needed to make sure I was ready for anything. Once I reached my base, I got to work on building a forge area. I needed to have a good workstation set up in order to make all the gear I would need. This forge is looking great, but I don't have anything to make at it. I'll have to head into the mines to get properly geared. I made my way down into a nearby cave. The cave was filled with lava, so I had to be careful as I made my way down. I quickly got to work and started grabbing everything I could find, starting with some emeralds. I've got something in mind for these emeralds, but I'll get to that later. Then I found some large chunks of gold, as well as some iron. This cave was full of massive ore veins, so I was able to get tons of supplies. Before I could finish mining everything though, I heard a sound coming from the other end of the cave. What is that? I made my way over and saw a squad of skeleton assassins. Uh-oh, how did they find me? I better take them out before they can tell their boss where my base is. I have to be careful too. Those axes can kill me in one hit. I made my way over to them and stuck to the high ground. Using my hammer in the terrain, I was able to keep them at bay and finish them off. Whew, it looks like I'm safe for now. I better hurry and get up to the surface. On days 20 to 22, I entered my forge and started smelting the iron I had collected. I needed to hurry and get things going so I could go look for Loki. The iron was going to take some time to smelt though, and given all the emeralds I had collected in the cave, I had an idea. I would never admit this to him, but one of my fellow Avengers has more courage than anyone I've ever met. I'm going to build a statue of him, in hopes it can encourage me to overcome any obstacles in my way. I was still the strongest, but got to work on the build. I wasn't going to be able to completely finish it now, but could certainly make some good progress. My iron was going to be finished smelting soon, so I decided to stop for the day. But before I grab that, I hope that you can help me out and hit subscribe. Ring the bell too, because you're not going to want to miss my next adventure, and if you have any ideas of what my next adventure should be, let me know in the comments. With the iron complete, I then put together a full set of iron armor, leggings, a helmet, boots, and a chest plate.
Wow.
Then I equipped everything. Alright, it's showtime. Let's go rescue Loki. I grabbed the map and headed over the mountain. I have no idea what could be waiting for me. I sure hope everything goes well. On days 23 to 27, the map led me to the top of a snowy mountain, where I could see a structure off in the distance. That castle must be where they're keeping Loki. Could this be where my hammer is located too? Oh, no, this isn't deep and dark, but maybe we can find a clue. I headed into the castle and saw Loki was being kept inside of a magical cage. It must have been stopping him from using his powers. Standing next to the cage, though, was the elite skeleton guard.
Ha ha ha! We knew you'd come looking for your brother. You fell right into my trap. I'm going to take you prisoner, and then no one will stop Thor.
Why is Gore doing this?
Thor the God Butcher is here to do just that. Butcher the gods. He doesn't fear you, or any god for that matter. He's going to find your hammer and make a portal back to Asgard. Asgard will burn, along with you, Odin, and the rest of your people.
That will never happen. I charged the skeleton guard with my iron hammer, and we started to fight. He was really strong, but with my new armor and strength, he couldn't do much to me. But I couldn't fight him forever. How was I going to get Loki out of that cage?
Brother, the lanterns!
As I continued to fight, I noticed that there were two strangely colored lanterns hanging above Loki's cage. They must be powering the enchantment. I managed to land a hard hit on the skeleton guard, which gave me a moment to break the lanterns and bust Loki out of his cage. Good luck taking on both of us. Loki jumped into the fight and I could tell we were winning. The skeleton guard didn't stand a chance. The skeleton guard took one final swing, then turned around and ran away. You better run, you coward! Loki, how are you doing?
I'm fine. I had everything under control.
Remind me again how you are always rescuing me.
You know what? Just for that, you can walk back to the base yourself.
And just like that, Loki teleported away. I'll take that as his way of saying thank you. But yeah, I better get back to the base. From days 28 to 32, I was heading back to the base when I saw someone up ahead on the mountain. When I got closer, I saw it was Hawkeye. Clint, what are you doing here?
I gotta be honest, man, I don't know. I was at home one second, then the next, I was teleported into this forest. Something about that process left me feeling weak. That's when a massive bear came out of nowhere and stole my bow. Can you believe that?
Wow, yeah, that's something. Did you see where it went? I can help you get it back.
Yeah, it's off in that direction. Let's go.
On days 33 to 36, we were searching through the forest when we saw the bear in the distance. That bear over there, is that the one?
Yeah, that's the one.
What's the deal with this universe? Are all the bears giant or something? Beats me. I was teleported here too. I'm looking for my hammer, but I can fill you in on all the details later. Let's go get your bow back. We made our way over to the bear and started to fight. Hawkeye was right. This bear was no ordinary bear, but with the help of my fellow Avenger, we were able to take it down. Hey, what's the deal? It didn't drop my bow. Oh look, there it is. On a nearby branch, we could see Hawkeye's bow. I ran over and grabbed it, then tossed it over to him. There you go, buddy. How are you feeling? Honestly, not great. The whole teleporting thing is new for me. Have you got a place to heal up? I sure do. Follow me. On days 37 to 40, we arrived back at the base. It was going to be nice having someone I could trust around. Once he was feeling better, I'm sure he would help me with my mission. We got straight to work clearing a space for his camp. I told him I could build everything for him while he rests, but he insisted that building a camp was rest to him, just as long as we don't have to fight any more giant bears. We had soon cleared a good space and got to work on setting up his base. We worked on the foundation, then split off. Hawkeye worked on the house, while I worked on the target practice range. This base would give him everything he needed. Soon, we were finished. Wow. Hey, thanks for getting me all set up. No problem. I hope you can get feeling better soon. I could really use your help. Yeah, man, absolutely. By the way, I noticed you started building a statue of the strongest Avenger. Second strongest, but go on. Yeah, right. I noticed you needed some more materials. I've got some purple wool that should work perfect. That would be great. Clint and I then got to work on the next part of the statue. Strongest Avenger? Surely he didn't mean to say that. And even if he did, he's definitely got to be the only one who thinks it. Soon, we had finished the second part. Thanks for your help, Clint. I was standing at the base of the statue admiring our work when Loki ran up and shoved me. Hey, what was that for?
Did you forget I was here? Do you really think I want to stay in the same house as you?
He had a good point. I didn't want to share a room with him either. So we headed around to the back of my house and built out an extension for Loki to stay in. I made sure to include everything he would need so he wouldn't have to bug me. After a while, it was all done. On days 41 to 43, I met Hawkeye at a shooting range. He told me there was something he needed to talk to me about. Hey, what's up? How are you feeling?
Feeling good. I'm not 100%, but I remember something that I think would be useful. It sounds like you've got quite the battle ahead of you, so we're gonna need all the help we can get. When I was coming through the portal, I remember catching a glimpse of that kid, Peter Parker. He might have landed somewhere in this world too.
Oh yes, Spider-Boy. I'll go look for him.
Spider-Man, but he's gone.
Another Avenger! I don't know why everyone was getting teleported here, but Hawkeye was right. I could use all the help I could get. Soon, I had made it back to the forest and started looking around. Parker! Spider-Boy! I checked all over the place but couldn't find him anywhere. The sun was starting to set though, so I decided to make a camp for the night. I finished setting up my tent and settled into my bed. In the middle of the night though, I heard a horrible noise. When I got up, it was a bunch of spiders. Oh gross, get out of here. I managed to fight off the spiders before they could do any real harm. But where did they come from? Maybe Parker is nearby. On days 44 to 49, I headed into the woods to see if I could find anything. I soon saw a bunch of webs, which were leading deeper into the forest. I can follow these webs. Maybe Parker will be at the end of them. As I followed them, I soon saw they led to a cave. As I came to the cave, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Look at all these spiders. And look, there's a giant one in there. I've got to take care of this guy before he finds my base. I rushed into the cave to take him out when Spider-Man dropped down from the ceiling. Whoa, Mr. Thor, hang on a second. Spider-Boy, I've been looking for you. It's Spider-Man, actually, but don't hurt the spider. He's a good guy. A good guy? Why did you send your minions after me in the forest? Yeah, he's sorry about that. He thought you might be working for Gore. I asked him what he knew about Gore, and he explained he didn't know where he was or where Mjolnir was. He did have some information for us, though. The portals that were bringing everyone here, they were actually created by Loki. Loki? I knew I couldn't trust him. He's trying to rule over Asgard again. The spider explained that he felt bad for sending his spiders after me and had an item that might help. He reached into a nearby chest and threw a weapon over to me. Whoa, this is a netherite destroyer. This thing will pack a serious punch. It's not as powerful as Mjolnir, but I don't think anything else is as strong as this. I thanked the spider for his help and invited Spider-Man back to my base. I was going to need some help dealing with this Loki situation. On days 50 to 53, Spider-Man and I arrived back at the base and headed straight for Loki's house. We checked downstairs but didn't see him. We headed upstairs and he wasn't up there either. As we ran back outside, we almost ran into him.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it rude to knock before you enter now?
Loki, enough of your tricks. I know you brought Gore here and are pulling everyone from their worlds. You're not going to overthrow Odin, and you'll never rule Asgard.
Okay, can you take a breath and let me explain? It's true that I made everyone teleport here, but it's not what I was trying to do.
So what were you trying to do?
I thought it would be a funny prank to scare you with an illusion of Gore, but something went wrong with the spell, causing the real Gore to show up. I thought bringing your Avenger friends in could help you solve the problem.
Who else did you bring here?
Why so angry? Aren't you excited to see all your friends again? Really, I'm doing you a favor.
Loki, who else?
That little rabbit guy you like so much.
Rabbit? I think he means Rocket the raccoon, sir. Ah, right. Where is he?
He's somewhere in the savannah. He shouldn't be too hard to find.
Feeling frustrated with Loki, I needed to do something to calm down, and decided to get to work building Spider-Man a place to live. Spider-Man wanted to help too, so we worked together to build him a nice cottage. He said it was nice to get out of the city for a while, even though there were still bad guys around. We soon finished the house. Wow, thanks, Mr. Thor. This place looks awesome. After he had finished checking out the house, I saw Spider-Man looking at the Hulk statue. Impressive, isn't it? It is. Mr. Banner is so smart. He's the strongest of us too, so it makes sense you'd want to make a statue of him. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The strongest? Why was everyone saying that? Here, how about you help me finish the next part? Take some emeralds and give me a hand. Spider-Man and I got to work on the next part of the statue. Maybe I was being too prideful thinking I was the strongest. Nah, that couldn't be it. We soon finished the next part of the statue. It was nearly finished. On days 54 to 57, I headed off to the savannah to try and find Rocket. I couldn't focus on anything else, knowing that one of my friends might be in trouble. Before long, I saw Rocket trapped on a hill, surrounded by skeletons, including the elite skeleton guard.
Come on down. We aren't going to hurt you.
What, are you nuts? Give me that little sword of yours and then maybe we can talk.
Rocket always talked tough, but I could tell when he needed help. I jumped out from my hiding place. Hey, over here! The skeleton guard looked over, and as I got closer, some of his soldiers attacked. It was no use, though. My new netherite hammer could take them out in a single hit. The other ones were so scared, they didn't dare try to attack me.
You again? You think that new hammer is going to let you defeat me? You're nothing without Mjolnir.
I'll show you. I leapt into battle and hit him with my hammer. Even though I had gotten stronger, he was still extremely powerful. He was so strong, he brought me down to just 3 hearts.
Time to say goodbye. Asgard will fall.
You'll never take my home. I rose up in fury and hit him as hard as I could. After a couple of slings, he was down.
Hey, nice going. No wonder everyone thinks you're the strongest Avenger.
Thank you. I'm glad someone here still has their head on straight. It's good to see you, Rocket.
Yeah, good to see you too, pal. Say, you're looking for your hammer, right? Before that skeleton brute got me cornered, I heard him laughing with his men. I guess one of their scouting parties had located the hammer. He said it was so close to you, but you'd never find it. He said it was under your feet this whole time.
Under our feet? I did run into one of his scouting parties in a cave under our base. It must be under my base. Come on, Rocket, let's get you back with the others. On days 58 to 62, I got to work building a base for Rocket. I needed to start mining down under the base, but I had to get Rocket set up first. I always want to treat my friends right. Once the house was finished, Rocket called out for me to head inside. Once I got inside, I saw he had set up an enchanting table.
Here, buddy, take this lapis I stole off the skeletons. You can use it to upgrade that armor of yours.
Using the lapis, I went about enchanting all of my armor. I didn't have the highest levels yet, but even just a little bit of enchantments can make a difference. I ended up giving each piece of armor different types of protection enchantments. Thanks, Rocket. I'm feeling more protected already. I then headed outside to go to the mines, but paused to look at the unfinished statue. While I'm down there, it'll be good if I can find some more emeralds. There's still a lot more building to go. On days 63 to 66, I headed back into the caves I had been mining in earlier. I moved further into the cave system and saw there was a tunnel leading even deeper. I can't believe I came down here before and didn't notice this. As I headed further down, I came across a group of cave centipedes. I jumped forward and started attacking them. Out of my way, you creepy cave crawlers. I managed to land some strong blows and take them all out. That's when I noticed there was an entrance to a mine shaft. A mine shaft all the way down here? I've got to be getting close. I made my way into the small passage and ran into another group of cave centipedes. I took them out as quickly as I could so I could keep pushing ahead. Soon, I saw a bigger room before me and there was something written on the wall. What could it be? Could it be the greatest secret the world has ever known? Subscribe. It's not my hammer, but definitely a good idea. If anyone is watching this, I'd say go ahead and give it a try. It is free after all. On day 67 to 70, I entered a new part of the mine shaft. Upon looking around, I saw that the passage was littered with skulls and skeletons. Yikes, it looks like I'm not the first person who tried to get through these caves. I wonder what they were looking for. I moved further along and was suddenly attacked by a group of cave creepers. Oh no, I can't risk getting blown up. I had to be very careful as the creepers could explode at any second. By hitting them with my hammer and jumping back, I managed to take them all out without hurting myself too bad. Phew, that was a close one. I better pick up all this gunpowder. It could come in handy. With the creepers out of the way, I kept moving through the tunnel. Eventually, I saw a chest and went over to open it up. Holy cow, look at all these emeralds. This must be what the previous explorers were looking for. There's a lot here, but I'll need even more if I'm going to finish my statue. On day 71 to 74, I continued even further into the cave. Surely Mjolnir would be down here. Suddenly, I walked into a huge room with a minecart path snaking its way down to the bottom of the room. Whoa, I've got to be getting close now. I followed the path until until I came to a large gap. It was a long drop to the bottom, so I carefully placed blocks across the gap. Once I was across, I jumped down to the other side. Further ahead, I came across another group of skeletons. More of these guys, huh? Makes me nervous as to what's ahead. Just then, I heard a terrifying sound and turned to see a massive cave badger come charging right at me. Could this be what was killing the explorers? Oh man, if I'm not careful, this thing is gonna knock me over the edge. I can't fly without my hammer. A fall like that definitely wouldn't be good for me. The badger was ferocious and almost knocked me off the edge several times, but in the end, he was the one who got knocked off. Have a nice trip. On days 75 to 78, I came to what I could tell was the end of the tunnel. As I made my way down the tracks, I could see something huge at the bottom, a creature in chains. I found the deep dark that Odin mentioned, and this must be the creature in chains. Mjolnir must be close. I descended to the bottom of the room and noticed there were some massive emerald deposits. Given Odin's warning, I needed to be extra careful not to disturb this creature. But getting all the emeralds I needed for my build was too good to pass up. If I'm really careful, I'm sure he won't notice if I take just a few blocks. I peeked into a nearby crate and snagged a few golden apples. Then I started to mine some emerald blocks. As I started to mine though, I heard a terrible noise and the creature began to shake. The chains began crunching and clanging, and the massive beast started to break loose. I was in trouble now. He let out a deep growl and broke loose from the chains. Oh boy, this is gonna be my toughest fight yet. He let out another roar and attacked me. This guy was no joke. His hits did some major damage, and after no time at all, I was already having to eat my golden apples. Oh, I don't know if I can win this one. This guy is so strong. The giant managed to get a few more hits on me, but I kept sneaking in some blows of my own. I kept thinking of everything I had at stake. I had to win. I gave it everything I had and managed to take him out. Whoa, I can't believe I did it. That was way too close. On days 79 to 84, I noticed that the giant had been chained in front of a large door. There didn't seem to be any way in, but I had an idea. I headed over to a nearby enclave and dug up some blocks of sand. While I was over there, I helped myself to some emerald blocks as well. There's no problem with me grabbing these now. With the sand collected, I put down a crafting table and made myself some TNT using the gunpowder I had collected from the creepers. I also made myself a lever so I could light it off. Then, I placed the blocks down and flipped the switch. Here goes nothing. The TNT blew a hole in the door, and I made my way into the tunnel behind it. After a short walk to the end of the tunnel, I saw a huge crater in the ground, and Mjolnir was at the bottom. At long last, I found it! I can barely believe it! I quickly made my way down the ladder and up to the anvil. Mjolnir flew into my hands. I jumped to the top of the anvil and felt the electricity flowing through my veins. There was a bolt of lightning, and I turned back into the adult version of myself. At last, I'm all powered up. Gore isn't gonna know what hit him. On days 85 to 89, I decided I needed to test out my new powers. Alright, Mjolnir, let's fly. With a lurch, I launched myself up into the air and out of the pit. I soon made my way back into the large room. The stack of emeralds from before were still sitting there, so I mined out the rest of the emeralds I needed to finish the statue. Once I'd collected those, I used Mjolnir to launch me into the sky and fly to the top of the minecart tracks. I'll be out of here in no time. As I was leaving, I came across some of the mobs I had fought earlier. Let's see how you handle this. I aimed at the creeper and let Mjolnir loose. It flew through the air, striking the creeper. I then finished it off at close range. Using my new abilities, I continued to fight my way out of the tunnel, killing mobs with a combination of close and long range hits. Once I was nearing the top of the tunnel, I came across some diamonds. Great, I can upgrade my armor using this. I mined out as many diamonds as I could get, then finally ascended out of the cave. On days 90 to 94, I came out of the cave and couldn't believe what I was seeing. Sitting in the middle of our settlement was the Avengers Tower. I saw my friends grouped outside and ran up to them. Whoa, guys, what's going on?
I may have forgotten to mention it. I also teleported Dr. Strange here.
Greetings. I thought you could use all the help you could get. I've been working on portals to get everyone back, but it looks like I can only pull things in as long as Gore is still around. I figured I would pull the resource of the Avengers Tower in to help with the fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once you're settled, come pay each of us a visit. Using the resources in the tower, we all managed to get something that should help you in the final battle. We'll talk soon.
On days 95 to 96, I headed straight to my forge to start crafting my diamond armor. I brought the diamonds to my anvil, and by using Mjolnir, I was able to craft myself a full set of diamond armor. With my diamond armor complete, I better go check with everyone to see what else they were able to find. But before I could walk off, Hawkeye walked up to me.
I know you were gonna come see me, but since you're working on your armor, thought I'd bring this to you now.
Hawkeye tossed out a handful of netherite ingots. Whoa, this is even better. I'll get upgrading right away. As I upgraded my diamond to netherite, Hawkeye explained that he had found all of it inside the Avengers Tower. It's a good thing Dr. Strange was here to help. With all of my armor upgraded, I headed over to Rocket's house. Hey buddy, what have you got for me?
You are in luck. I went digging through the tower and managed to scrounge up some more lapis for enchants. This ought to help beef up that new armor of yours.
I took the lapis and got to work enchanting my new armor. Rocket was right. These enchantments were going to make a massive difference in the fight against Gore. With my armor armor fully enchanted, I then headed over to Spider-Man's house. Hey, Mr. Thor, wow, I'm so glad you're here. I checked out the labs in the tower, and would you believe it? They were full of brewing ingredients. I managed to put together some potions. I hope you'll find them helpful. Spider-Man threw out a speed, fire resistance, and health potion. He was right. These would definitely be helpful. From there, I headed out to find Dr. Strange and thank him for all of his help. To my surprise, he came flying down from the tower and landed right in front of me.
Interesting choice for a statue. I thought you would have chosen the strongest Avenger.
Well, it would have been a little strange to make a statue of myself.
Of you? I was referring to me.
What? Dr. Strange let out a chuckle.
Toss me some emeralds and I'll give you a hand in finishing this thing.
I threw him some emeralds and we both flew to the top of the statue. Dr. Strange flew around and placed blocks, while I jumped around and placed my blocks. I guess a part of me was grateful Loki had teleported all my friends here. It was nice to see them again. It was just too bad my buddy Hulk couldn't actually be here. And just like that, the statue was done. After everything was done, I found myself standing by the base and heard a familiar voice in my head.
Hulk no smash, Hulk less.
Suddenly, a stream of green particles appeared around me, and I gained 10 more hearts. Maybe Hulk had been here all along after all. On days 97 to 98, I had finished my preparations, so I met back up with everyone outside my house. I still had to see what Loki had prepared for me. As I walked up, I saw one of his green portals sparkling next to him.
Well, brother, I must say that I have the best gift for you of all. A portal that leads directly to Gor's base.
Thank you, Loki. I know everyone here wants to help, but this is something I have to do on my own. You've all been amazing friends. If I don't make it, find a way to stop Gorr and save Asgard. I took a deep breath and stepped into the portal. On day 99, I appeared on the other side of the portal at the entrance to Gor's base. I was getting ready to enter when I had the sneaking suspicion something was behind me. Whoa, what's that? Some lightning crash and a huge subscribe was floating in the sky. Man, I feel like this word keeps following me around. Oh well, I guess it's just a sign that is heavily suggesting something that someone should do. I don't know about you, but I'd listen to it. I mean, look at all that lightning. But this was no ordinary sign, and that was no ordinary lightning. As I walked into Gor's palace, I could feel something was different. I could see Gorr up ahead, but first, I had to get through his band of skeletons. By the power of Thor, eat lightning! I threw Mjolnir, and the nearest skeleton was immediately struck by lightning. My full powers were finally unlocked. The skeletons gave me everything they had, but none of them could stop me. I used every attack I had, throwing Mjolnir, hitting them with lightning, and striking them at close range. Soon, all of the skeletons were defeated, and only Gorr and I remained. On day 100, I stood face to face with Gorr. You tried, but it's over now. Without warning, Gorr attacked. Clearly, he didn't have time for monologues. Why are you doing this? What do you have to gain by attacking Asgard?
It's not just Asgard, it's all the gods. They're all the same. They only care about one thing.
Gorr was enraged, and I was having trouble holding him off. One thing? And what's that?
Themselves.
Gorr was really starting to do some damage now. We kept fighting, and I was able to get some hits in, but his hits were harder and harder. I was getting down to just a few hearts.
I would offer you mercy, but you don't deserve it. The people of Asgard need to be free from you.
My hearts were nearly gone. Maybe he was right. I should have asked for help in this fight. Why was I so prideful and wanting to do it alone? I only had half of a heart left and couldn't fight anymore.
Any final words?
Just then, I heard a sound behind me, and a green portal appeared. Loki, Spider-Man, and Rocket came running through. What, did you actually think we'd let you have all the fun without us? We're here to help, sir.
Look, here I am, rescuing you again.
Everyone lined up around me. Gorr wasn't right about me at all. I've always cared about my friends. Let's do this. We all started to attack Gorr. I threw my hammer, Spider-Man unleashed his webs, Rocket shot his rockets, and Loki hit him with his scepter.
You're not like other gods I killed.
That's because I have something worth fighting for. We kept up our attacks, and I could tell Gorr no longer stood a chance. With a final swing of my hammer, he was defeated. Good work, everyone. We did it. Now let's get out of here. Loki opened a portal, and we ran back through. Once I had arrived back, everyone was waiting for me. Dr. Strange had opened another portal that would send everyone home. As everyone jumped into the portal and was sent back to their worlds, I thanked them for their friendship. Everyone chose greatness today, and I can't think of a better group of friends. On day 1, I woke up in a basket floating down a river. Whoa, where am I? Who am I? The basket washed up on the edge of the river and I hopped onto the shore. That's when I noticed I had a cane in my hand. I took a closer look. The cane of Moses, a reminder of his parents. I'm Moses, but I'm just a baby with 3 hearts. At least my parents gave me this cool cane that doesn't seem to have any special powers. I wonder where they are. Just then, I heard a splash in the water behind me and a crocodile came jumping out of the water. Ah! I gotta go! A giant crocodile like that could eat a baby like me in one bite! As I ran into the desert, I soon climbed a hill, finding a small village on the other side. A village! I'll bet there's someone here who can help me find my parents. As I ran into the village, I noticed there didn't seem to be anyone around. Hello? Anyone? Can anyone hear me? Hello? I had run through the whole village, but nobody was here. Another mystery to solve. It was soon getting late, so I decided that I'd spend the night here. Maybe I could find out what was going on tomorrow. On day 2, I woke up to the silence of the abandoned village. If I'm gonna find out where everyone went, I need to be prepared. The house I was in needed some repairs, so I headed over to the trees to get myself some wood. Using the wood I had gathered, I made myself a stone pickaxe as well as some wood slabs. Then I used the wood slabs to fill in the roof. Next up, more tools. I headed over to a nearby hill and used my pickaxe to gather limestone that could be used to make limestone tools. As I was mining though, a husk suddenly appeared at the top of the hill. Oh no, I don't have any weapons yet. I hurried and put together a crafting table, then used that to craft a limestone sword. I turned around just in time. The husk and I had a fearsome battle, and he brought me down to half a heart. Armed with my sword though, I was able to deliver the final blow. That's what you get for trying to mess with me. It was at that moment that I realized I didn't have any food. I had seen a wheat field earlier, so I built myself a bridge across the river so I could go to it. I was pretty sure I couldn't swim. I was just a baby after all. With my stomach growling, I quickly started harvesting as much wheat as I could. Suddenly, I heard something rustling in the wheat behind me and turned to see a hippo. Ah! Oh wait, you're just a baby, like me. What's your name? Just then, I heard a terrifying sound and turned to see an adult hippo looking right at me.
Get away from my little brother!
He looked angry, and I still only had half of a heart. I had to get out of there. I ran back across my bridge, breaking a couple blocks behind me. Once I had gotten away, I hurried and made myself some bread. Bread has never tasted so good. Later that evening, I heard a sound outside my window. When I looked outside, the baby hippo from before was out there.
Hey, I'm sorry to bug you, but I wanted to apologize for earlier. My brother Hugo is kind of intense.
I hopped down the side of the building. That's okay. He really scared me. You seem nice though.
I try to be. My name is Harry. Here, I brought you some fish to say sorry. I'll see you around.
I thanked him for the fish and quickly got them cooking in the furnace so they could be ready for the next day. Then I used some of my remaining limestone to finish making a set of limestone tools. On day 3, I woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of footsteps. The villagers, they must be back. I hurried down the ladder to greet them when I was suddenly swarmed by a group of husks. Oh no, I forgot to fix the door. The husks tried to surround me as I ran out of the house. I could fight one of them off, but it wasn't looking like I could handle a whole group of them. Just as all hope was lost, Hugo came charging in to help. In no time, he managed to fight off all of the husks. Wow, you saved me. Thank you.
No problem. Harry told me he stopped by and said you were a nice guy. Sorry for scaring you earlier.
That's okay. Those husks should have been more scared. Feel free to stop by anytime. After Hugo had left, I suddenly felt more strength returning to my limbs, and I grew into a teenager. And now I have 7 hearts. The next day, I was walking around the edge of town when I saw someone taking a look at the basket I had spawned in. Just then, the crocodile that had attacked me showed up again, catching her off guard. Hang on, I'll help you. I ran over to her and started fighting off the crocodile. With my new strength, I was much better suited for this fight. I kept swinging my sword and was able to take him out.
Wow, nice moves. I thought I was a goner for sure.
I'm happy to help. Say, I was hoping you might be able to help me with something. The village over there is completely empty. Do you know what happened to everyone?
Oh, yes, the people that used to live here. They're gone.
Yeah, do you know where?
Yeah, I do. They moved.
Oh, really? All of them? Something bad must have happened.
No, not bad. They all live in the city now. My dad is actually the pharaoh there. Speaking of, you should come live in the city. It's really not safe out here.
I agreed, and she showed me the way. I was getting tired of being attacked by crocodiles and husks every day. On days 4 to 5, the princess and I arrived at the big city. The princess, whose name was Nubia, showed me around. Wow, this city is huge. It must have taken a long time for you guys to build everything. Nubia simply nodded as we walked closer to the palace. She was taking me to meet the pharaoh. As I entered the throne room, I could see the pharaoh sitting on his throne.
Nubia, welcome home. And who do we have here?
Father, I wanted you to meet Zozo. I was attacked by a crocodile, and he saved me when I thought all hope was lost.
Nubia, what have I told you about wandering along the river? Thank goodness young Zozo was here to save you. Zozo, I am in your debt. Please, let me settle it by giving you a place to stay, here in our prosperous city.
Wow, that would be amazing. This is a beautiful city.
I will give you one of our finest rooms. You can live next door to my son. Ramses, come say hello to our new friend.
Ramses came running over with 2 servants behind him.
I heard you saved my sister. Nice going. Although don't get too comfortable. She's always needing someone to bail her out.
Nubia rolled her eyes as the pharaoh led us out to a balcony overlooking the city.
This city is my pride and joy. As our newest citizen, I just want to make sure you understand its history. Many years ago, I was born to rule and lead these people. If not for me, this place would be a disaster. So anyone who lives here should be happy and grateful to be here.
I nodded, but man, this guy really seemed full of himself. But I did appreciate having a place to stay. I couldn't wait to meet all the happy people in the kingdom.
Nubia, please, show Zozo around the city so he can see everything I've accomplished. Ramses, you join them. Go on.
Ramses, Nubia, and I left the palace and they began to show me around. There were some really amazing things to see. There were monuments, statues, and lots of buildings. This was some of the best building I had ever seen. Wow, I can't believe your dad was able to build all of this. That's really impressive.
Well, he didn't actually build it himself. The people from the desert villages built a lot of it.
Yeah, but if Dad wouldn't have given them direction and a place to live, they would have been miserable. They're much happier here.
We continued the tour, but I started to notice that most of the people didn't seem to look very happy. In fact, I thought all of them looked like they were hungry. I wasn't so sure about all of this. At the end of the day, Ramses showed me to my room. It was a lot nicer than the rooms of the people we had passed. He told me to get some rest, as tomorrow there was a special show scheduled that he thought I'd enjoy. I headed over to the bed and laid down for the night. On day 6 through 8, I followed Nubia and Ramses out of the palace and to the city coliseum. Ramses seemed pretty excited about the special show we were going to. We soon reached the VIP booth where the pharaoh was already seated.
You can take my seat, Zozo. I like to get close to the action.
As I sat, I noticed that Nubia didn't seem very happy to be here, but she didn't say anything. Just then, a door in the arena opened and a gladiator came walking into the arena as the crowd cheered. Were we about to watch some kind of fight? Then the door on the opposite side opened and a giant hippo entered the arena. Is that Hugo? Hugo was chained to a post and the gladiator started to attack him. The crowd began to cheer. What is he doing? He's going to hurt him.
Yes, my boy, that is the point. That's our strongest warrior down there, giving us all a little entertainment after a long week's work.
But it's not even a fair fight. Hugo's chained to the post. He can barely fight back.
Hugo, don't tell me you've named the beast.
He's no beast. He's my friend. I'm sorry, but I have to do this. I thought I saw Nubia give me a small grin as I jumped down into the arena. I ran up to the gladiator and hit him with my sword.
What the? Where did this keep come from?
My hit had managed to distract the gladiator for just a second, which let Hugo start to get some hits in. With the gladiator distracted, I quickly broke the post he was chained to, then jumped on his back.
Enough!
Several pillars rose up from the ground as the pharaoh rose from his seat.
Zozo, we opened our homes to you out of the kindness of our hearts, and this is how you repay us? If you won't accept us, then we can never accept you. Leave now, or my gladiator will destroy you. You are hereby banished.
This hippo is my friend. I can't support someone who would hurt him for their own entertainment. I'm sorry. I turned and rode out of the city on Hugo's back. How was I going to survive now? On days 9 through 10, I was wandering in the desert. Hugo had told me to stay with him, but I couldn't risk putting him in danger, so I continued on alone. But I couldn't feel too bad for myself, as I was suddenly attacked by a pack of hyenas. I'm definitely not in the city anymore. Get back, you fiends! The hyenas snapped at me, but I managed to hit them enough to keep them all away from me. I better hurry and find some place to set up camp. It's starting to get hot out here. Lucky for me, I soon came across some old ruins. There are all kinds of cool structures here. As I walked through the ruins, I also saw there was an oasis nearby. Oh man, this is just what I needed. This oasis was a beautiful spot to build a camp to live in, so I got right to work building myself a house. It wasn't anything big or fancy, but it was just right for me. I soon finished. Well, I might as well check out some of these ruins while I'm here. I hiked into some of the nearby ruins and started looking through the dusty crates. There were some basic food and resources, but the real gem was the golden desert armor. I kept looking through the crates and was able to find an entire set. This is great. I'm already starting to feel safer. I hiked back to my camp when I heard some sheep nearby. I gathered them up and put them in a pen. These sheep give me an idea. I found a nice plot in the desert and started working on a statue. I think this is going to look really cool out here. I'd love to hear what you think it's going to be. After a bit, part 1 of the statue was complete. On days 11 through 12, I woke up to something interesting outside my door. It was a note. Hello, I saw you come to the old ruin down below. I saw you build with such passion and enthusiasm. You show great promise. I would like to meet you. Come to the location marked on the map. It is in the mountains near here. This could be a trap set by the pharaoh, but I think it's worth the risk. They might be able to help me. With the map in hand, I made my way out into the desert. I had to climb a large hill, but as I reached the top, I saw a torch outside a cave. Inside the cave was an old man.
Zozo, I'm so happy you've come.
Hi, who are you?
I used to be the leader of the desert people, but the pharaoh came and forced them to work for him. He says everyone is happy, but that's because anyone who says otherwise is never seen again.
I knew something was off. I could tell the people in the city weren't as happy as he said they were. Are you going to save them? The old man smiled.
In a way, but that work will be done through you.
Me? How could someone like me ever defeat a powerful pharaoh?
He is powerful, but he relies too much on his own strength. There are other ways we can defeat him.
What do you mean?
That city is his greatest source of pride. If we can destroy his city, not only will he fall apart, but the people of the city can rise up and escape. That city is nothing without the work of the people. It will be up to you to make things bad for him. I should also mention that there is a powerful item buried in this cave. You're not ready for it yet, but I know one day you will be.
I'll do my best. I think I know where to get started. I thanked the old man and headed out of the cave. It was time to head back to the city. On days 13 to 15, I crossed the desert back toward the city. The city soon came into view, and I started stacking my way to the top of the city. If I was going to cause some disruptions, I needed to get a closer look at what was around. I ran along the top of the city and looked over the edge. That's when I noticed there was a water supply running through the center of the city. If I could disrupt the water supply, that would definitely cause some problems for the pharaoh. But I can't cut it off. That would hurt innocent people. Just then, I had the perfect idea, but I needed to head back to the river. I ran back across the city top and headed to the river. Soon, I had reached the riverside, and I could see flowers on the other side.
Need a ride?
Hugo, perfect timing. I was just wondering how I would get across. I soon reached the other side and started gathering up as many roses and poppies as I could. I was going to need them for my special project. Once I had finished collecting as many as I could, I met Hugo back down by the river.
Hey, I found this health regeneration necklace at the bottom of the river. I thought you might be interested in it.
Hugo tossed out the necklace, which I picked up and equipped. He then let me hop on his back and gave me a ride back across the river. Time to get back to the base and start working on my secret plan. On day 16 to 19, I got right to work building a mill. I had a big project in mind, so I was going to need a tool to help me get all of the work done quick. The mill was soon complete, and I got right to work, adding all of the flowers I had gathered the day before to the machine. It didn't take too long, but I soon had a large amount of red dye. This ought to be enough dye. It's all coming together. Just then, I heard a sound outside and went to check out the noise. There was a group of tomb raiders outside. They must be here to raid the ruins. They caught sight of me and charged. I'm not a bad guy. Back off. The raiders were strong and nearly took all of my health. They had some good gear. I wonder if they found all of this in the old tombs. Thankfully, though, I was able to overcome their sword swings and take them all out. As they disappeared, I noticed that they dropped some iron bars. Iron! This will help me be even stronger than before. Guess I'm glad they came here after all. Just then, I felt more strength surge through me, and I grew into an adult. And check it out, I even have a beard. Oh, and more hearts, too. I headed over to the crafting table, and by using the iron I had picked up, made myself some new iron gear. If anything went wrong on my secret mission tomorrow, I would be ready for a fight. Then I went over to the statue and got to work on the second part. It might look like I'm finishing it, but I have a whole other part to do. Be sure to keep watching to see what it is. On days 20 to 22, I snuck my way back over to the city, ready to put my plan into action. But first, I had to make it there, as I was suddenly attacked by a group of wraiths. Ah, you guys are freaky! With my new iron gear, though, they were going to have a hard time taking me out. I swung my sword and was able to destroy all of them. That was scary, but I've got a mission to complete. Soon, I was making my way through the city streets. There were a lot of guards wandering around, but if I was sneaky, I could weave through the buildings. I had to get to the water supply. I almost got caught, but finally, I made it to the source of the water.
Halt!
Uh-oh, looks like I've got company. A small group of guards attacked. There were a lot of them, but I had to see this through. They hit me again and again, nearly taking all of my health. I can't let them win. I must save the people of this city. I rose up and started swinging even stronger than before. I was starting to win. There was only one guy left, but he managed to get away. I better hurry. I'm sure there will be more guards coming soon. I ran back over to the water supply and started throwing the dye into the water. If I could turn the water red, people might start blaming the pharaoh for their lack of clean water. It took a little while for the change to take effect, but soon the water had all turned red.
What do you think you're doing?
I looked down and saw the guard had returned with the gladiator from the arena. I wasn't going to be able to run away this time.
Who do you think you are, coming back here? And what happened to the water? What have you done?
The pharaoh is no hero. He's forcing people to work for him. It's not right. He needs to let these people go.
No one's gonna ruin our city, especially a little desert man like you.
The gladiator attacked. This was their city's strongest warrior. This was going to be quite the fight. He had a massive sword that really packed a punch. It doesn't have to be like this. Surely you can see that the pharaoh is evil.
My life seems pretty good. Too bad yours is over.
My health was nearly gone, but I had to keep fighting for these people. I kept moving and was finally able to land the final hit. As the gladiator disappeared, he dropped his sword. A claymore, huh? This thing is huge, but it's as light as a feather. I took a look at the guard, and he took off running again. What a wimp. I took a look at the water again. Well, I'm surely going to get the pharaoh's attention now. Just then, I heard a bunch of feet running. A whole battalion of guards were running right at me. That's my cue. Time to go. I jumped over the wall, and the guards ran up and looked down at me. Now I just need to wait and see how the pharaoh responds to my mission. On days 23 to 26, I was still making my way across the desert. Up ahead, I could see some orange rocks. Oh, I could use those for the next stage of the statue. I ran over and got to work mining them out. I've got a cool idea for what I could add to the statue. I think everyone will really like it. As I finished mining, I noticed there was a cave nearby. Maybe there are resources inside I could use. I made my way down into the cave and soon came across some iron ore. Perfect, this is just what I was looking for. I kept going deeper into the cave, mining more resources. Suddenly, the room opened up and there was a massive subscribe on the wall. Oh wow, thank you to everyone who has already subscribed. I'm having a lot of fun and I hope you are too. If you haven't subbed yet, I'd love to have you join the team. On days 27 to 31, I was out of the cave and heading back to my base. As I was crossing the desert, I saw a bunch of camels escaping from their caravan. Hang on, I'll help you. The camels went running off behind a small dune and I followed them to the other side. I soon saw that the animals had gathered at a nearby oasis. Hey guys, you were just a little thirsty, weren't you? Suddenly, the camels ran away and a giant crab came walking out of the water. Whoa, where the heck did you come from? The crab snapped at me with his pincers as I swung my sword. His hard shell was difficult to crack, but not too hard for my new sword. The crab was quickly defeated. Phew, now let's get these camels back to their rightful owner. I led the camels back to the grateful trader.
Thank you, sir. Say, are you the one who changed the city water red? I'm glad someone is standing up to the pharaoh. I have a lot of good friends trapped in that city. I passed by there and the pharaoh was pretty mad.
Oh yeah? I'm glad to hear it worked. Hopefully it will make the people angry enough to rise up against him.
Well, everyone is upset and he's mad, but he's made it even harder for everyone. He's also doubled security around the city. I'm afraid it didn't do what you were hoping.
Oh no, I'll have to figure something else out.
I know just the thing.
The trader headed over to one of his chests, then returned and placed a strange box in front of me.
Here, you can have this. Think of it as a thank you for rescuing my camels.
The trader opened the box and a bunch of frogs jumped out. I didn't see how a box full of frogs, which now had no frogs in it, was going to be any help, but I didn't want to be rude as he was clearly excited to give it to me. Wow, that is so cool. Thanks. I invited the trader to come stay at my base with me to sell his wares. The city wouldn't be safe for him if people knew he had helped me. He agreed, but needed to take care of some things first. I picked the box up and headed back to my base. What could I do next to stop the pharaoh? On days 32 to 35, I returned back to my base. I wasn't sure what to do next yet, but figured it would be a good time to empty my pockets and start smelting the iron I'd collected. With the iron ingots, I then crafted a full set of desert iron armor, as well as a new set of iron tools. I had also gotten a few diamonds in the cave earlier, so I used those to make myself a new diamond pick. Whatever my next step is, I'll be ready for a fight. Just then, I heard the sound of a camel outside and met the trader as he rode up. Hey, glad you could make it. I was thinking about it, and I think it'll be a good idea if we build you a shop. Maybe people are scared to leave the city because they have nowhere else to go.
That is a brilliant idea. I just picked up some fresh items, so I have plenty of things to sell.
I quickly got to work building the trader a shop. If I couldn't free all the people from the city, at the very least I could give the ones who do escape a place to live. The shop was soon finished. Once the trader had settled in, I walked up to see what he had to sell. Hey, I hope you're all settled in. I was hoping you might have some kind of special item that could help me get back at the pharaoh. The trader gave me a confused look.
What do you mean? I thought you would be able to do something with the frog box.
Oh yeah, I mean it was really cool when you showed me it was full of frogs, but since they all had hopped away, I don't really know what to do with it now.
I see. I may not have explained it very well. You see, it's an infinite frog box. Every time you open it, more frogs will come out. You will never run out of frogs.
Man, this guy was really into frogs. But just then, inspiration struck. I had a new idea to get back to the pharaoh, but I was gonna need some help from some old friends. On days 36 to 39, I had arrived back at the river where I met up with Hugo and some of his pals. Hugo, I had a question for you. I recently got this box that can create infinite frogs, and I know just what to do with it. The problem is, I don't have a good way to get into the city now that it has increased security. Do you know a good way in? Before Hugo could answer though, the small bird on his back piped up.
Oh, I know just the thing. Hang on one second.
The little bird flew off. Where could he be going? Moments later, he returned with a much bigger bird.
This is my friend. We're all sick of the pharaoh capturing all of our bird friends and keeping them in cages.
The big bird explained that he could pick me up and carry me over the city, which would let me shake the box, dropping frogs through the whole city. That's a perfect plan. Meet me at the mountaintop near my base tomorrow morning. We've got some frogs to drop. On days 40 to 43, the big bird met me on top of the mountain. I hopped on his back, and we flew away toward the city. As we got closer, I could see all the new guards defending it. Let's see them defend against this. As we flew over the city, I started dropping frogs. Down below, I could see the city had started to wake up, with a few people roaming around the streets. As the frogs landed, I could hear screams as people began to panic. It looks like the plan is working. By the time I had finished dropping the frogs, the sun had fully risen, and the whole city could see something was wrong. I was too busy looking down at the people when I accidentally slipped and fell off the bird, landing in the water below. Oh, uh-oh, that wasn't part of the plan. I hopped up as a couple of townspeople ran over to me.
Zozo, these frogs are disgusting, but we're so glad you're here. The pharaoh is so mean. We want to help, but don't have anywhere to go.
Just then, I heard a shout. The guards were coming. Stay behind me. I have a safe place we can go. We ran for the exit as a group of guards charged at us. Looks like I'm gonna have to fight my way out of this one. The guards were intense, but I was able to cut them down and keep pushing for the exit. Soon enough, we had fought our way out of the city and ran to the desert. I wonder if the frogs would be enough for the pharaoh to let the people go. On days 44 to 49, I arrived back at the base with all of the villagers. We went to have a chat with the trader.
My goodness, Zozo, look at all of these customers. People. I'm so happy they were able to escape.
So am I. They're here to join our cause. Hopefully we can help everyone else escape too. But in the meantime, let's start building a place for you all to stay. Out behind my house, I got to work making a space for all of the villagers to build their homes. Once the area was prepped, they helped me to build their houses. We had a real town coming together. Soon, all the houses were done. Good job, everyone. This place is looking really great. I can't wait to get more people to move in. With all of the villagers moved in, I was feeling inspired to add the next part of the statue. With a little bit of help, I was able to finish the first part of the next section. Any guesses what I'm building next? After I was finished, the villagers came up to me with a real problem. If people were going to live here, we needed a way for everyone to eat. That's a good point. I think it's a good chance for us to strike back at the pharaoh too. I think we should go back to the city and bring all of their livestock here. That food should belong to you. The villagers agreed. The city would surely fall without a food source. This is a great idea, but I'm sure the pharaoh is going to have increased security. How am I going to be strong enough to get in this time?
Zozo, who are you talking to? I think the heat might be getting to you, but I did find something in the ruins. It might help with your problem. Follow me.
On days 50 to 53, the trader led me to the tomb tomb entrance. He explained that the tomb seemed untouched, but he was too scared to go inside. Well, I'll go take a look. Hopefully we can find something helpful. I ran inside. Right ahead of me was a book on a pedestal, so I opened it up. Yeah, this book isn't very helpful. If I can't even read the book, how am I ever gonna get into this place? Wait a second, what's that? Just behind me was a button. I hit the button and heard a secret panel in the wall open. I headed through and entered a massive room. This must have been a pharaoh's tomb.
Who dares enter my tomb? If you can defeat my guardians, then perhaps I will share my secret power with you.
Suddenly, a bunch of gas appeared and started to attack me. Ooh, scary. But that secret power sounds just like what I need. The gas were not very happy to see me and kept shooting fireballs. Unlucky for them though, I was able to hop around and hit the fireballs right back at them. As I destroyed them, I saw that they were dropping gunpowder. Gunpowder! That gives me an idea for the next time we go to the city. I kept fighting until finally all of the gas were defeated. I picked up the gunpowder and took a look around the room. I soon saw a passageway which led me deeper into the tomb.
You may have defeated my gas, but I am not finished with you yet.
Just then, I ran into a jackal, and boy was this guy strong. Those spears are way too OP. I was able to use my shield to block, but just a few hits from the jackal would take me out. I managed to eat some food and heal up, then began to fight back. It was a close one, but I was able to win the fight. I kept going through the tomb when I saw a small tunnel up ahead. Suddenly, I fell down a hole, landing in a small pool of water.
What? How did you get this far? Well, you won't like this.
Just then, a bunch of blazes spawned in and started to attack. One of them even managed to catch me on fire. The fire definitely didn't feel good, but luckily, they weren't as strong as they looked. I was able to defeat them pretty quickly. There was a staircase nearby, so I followed that. I had to be close. Just then, I entered another room and saw the mummified pharaoh appear. I made it! I'll take that secret power, please.
You know, I thought about it, and I decided I want to keep it. Shazam!
A bunch of mummies spawned and attacked me. They were slow, but strong. But I had made it this far, and nothing was going to stop me. The mummies were soon destroyed.
Okay, I guess I'll just do this myself.
Pharaoh hopped down and started to attack me too. You know, we don't have to fight. You can just give me the prize.
Do you have any idea how bored I am? At least this is something to do. Hi-ya!
Honestly, if this guy wasn't attacking me, we'd probably be friends. Soon enough, I had landed a bunch of blows, and he was nearly defeated.
Okay, I think you've proved your point. Go ahead and take the prize.
The mummy pharaoh disappeared. I hopped up and took a look inside of his tomb and found a totem of undying, a set of raw armor, and Horus's ascension. I quickly put on all of the armor and equipped the weapon. Just then, the power began to course through me, and I leveled up into a powerful, full-grown man. And check it out, my beard is legendary. Before leaving the tomb, I had to try out the new weapon. Outside the room, I ran into some more mummies. I hit them with the Horus's ascension, which sent them flying into the air. Looks like it's time to head back to the city and get those animals. On days 54 to 57, I emerged from the tomb, then returned back to my house to craft. At my crafting table, I put together some TNT. You know what they say, the best way out is always through. We're gonna blast our way right through the walls. I went to talk to the villagers, and a few of them agreed to come with me to help. We traveled across the desert and soon came to the farm on the edge of the city. I set up the TNT and set it off. Fire in the hole! The TNT blew a hole in the wall, and we ran into the farm. Alright, you guys start wrangling the animals, and I'll get us some hay. I ran into a nearby shelter and picked up a few hay bales. I ran back outside and handed them out to the villagers. With the hay in hand, they managed to round up all the animals and lead them away. Looks like they're gonna make it out. I might as well grab some more wheat before I leave. I quickly got to it, cutting up as much wheat as I could. I had just about finished gathering all of the wheat and seeds when a group of guards ran up, but look who was leading them. Ramses, what are you doing here?
Zozo? You're the man from the desert? I barely recognize you. I'm so happy to see you again.
You're not angry to see me? I thought you were here to attack me.
No, in fact, I've been trying to join you. All of us here have seen my father's power and influence fading. Please, let us join your community.
I couldn't believe my luck. Ramses had been so nice to me before, and I was happy to have him as part of our group. The more people we had, the better chance we had to free the rest of the villagers. On days 58 to 62, I was back at the base when one of the villagers pulled me aside. He was nervous about Ramses being there with a bunch of palace soldiers. Could we really trust him? Before I could answer, Ramses walked up with his guards.
Don't worry, friend. You don't have anything to worry about. If I didn't come with good intentions, I wouldn't tell you this. The pharaoh is actually putting together a large army and plans to attack.
If that's the case, then we need to get prepared. Please, if everyone could give me a hand, we can build everything we need.
Don't you think it'll be wiser just to leave things how they are? This is a nice community here. Attacking the pharaoh will only end in failure. I've seen how powerful this army is.
I think you lack faith, my friend. We won't rest until everyone has been freed. I'm positive we can find a way to win. Ramses didn't seem convinced, but he agreed and asked what we needed to do to get ready. First things first, we started to clear out some of the old ruins. This was going to be the perfect place to set up our farms. We had an army to feed, so we had to make sure we had a good farm. Next, we got to work building a barracks pancakes for all of the soldiers. This would give them a place to rest and get ready for the fight ahead. I was able to get plenty of help, so we were able to finish it pretty quickly. Then I met Ramses outside. Ramses, I know living in the desert is quite a transition for you. I can build you a special place if you'd like.
That is okay. I will live in a regular house like everyone else. However, I wouldn't mind helping you out with that statue.
Ramses then joined me as we worked on the next part of the statue. It was really starting to come along. As we worked, I mentioned that I would go speak with the old man in the cave to see if he had any ideas. When I mentioned the old man, Ramses asked to join me, to which I agreed. We would go in the morning. Soon, the next part of the statue was complete. On days 63 to 66, Ramsey and I headed up the mountain toward the cave. As we crossed the mountaintop, we ran into a bunch of spiders. What are these spiders doing all the way up here? Ramses and I sprang into action, fighting them off. Working together, we were able to defeat them in no time. It was nice having a good fighter to help out. As we approached the cave, I could hear the old man's voice calling out to me.
Zozo, you may enter, but only alone.
Sorry, Ramses. You'll have to wait out here. Ramses agreed, and I entered the cave.
I know why you've come. The pharaoh is gathering his armies, isn't he?
Yes, I was hoping you might be able to help us. I thought maybe that buried item you had mentioned before might be useful at a time like this.
In fact, there is a hidden item that can help, but it is not the one buried here. I will give you the directions to the cave.
The old man explained where I needed to go to find this item. Excited to have a special item for the fight, I was getting ready to leave.
But before you go, Zozo, I leave you with a warning. I know your community has grown, but are you sure everyone can be trusted?
I nodded, but I wasn't sure what he could mean. Maybe he was talking about Ramses, but he had done more than enough to prove he wanted to help. I would keep my eye out for any suspicious villagers. Outside the cave, I told Ramses all about the item and where we needed to go. He was just as excited as me, so we headed off to find the cave. On days 67 to 70, Ramses and I had entered the cave. Soon, we saw an interesting looking statue in the middle of the tunnel. I'm surprised someone took the time to build a statue deep down in a cave like this. Suddenly, the statue sprang to life and started to attack us. It's a good thing Ramses had come with me though, as together we were able to quickly defeat it. Nice one, Ramses. Let's keep going. We continued down the tunnel and eventually saw two more statues. We stood there for a moment waiting for them to come to life. Maybe these ones are just statues? I guess. Whoa! The statues had come to life and started to attack. There were two of them this time, which made it harder than before. But even then, we still managed to fight them both off. I wonder how much deeper we have to go. I mean, what's next? 3 statues? We continued until we saw a larger room. Inside was a huge statue, way bigger than the other ones. Well, I think it's clear what we have to do. Let's do this! Ramses and I got to work, attacking the big statue. His big arms landed some heavy blows as we jumped around, getting as many hits in as we could. We even had to run out of the room and hide to heal up. Thankfully though, we were able to get enough hits in and the giant statue was destroyed. As he vanished, we saw something left in his place. This must be that special item the old man was talking about. With this, we'll be able to beat the pharaoh once and for all. Come on, Ramses, let's—
Sorry, Zozo.
Ramses hit me on the head, knocking me out. Before I blacked out completely, I saw him pick up the item. On day 71 to 74, I woke up to see that I was all alone. Oh, my head hurts. Ramses must have stolen the weapon and escaped. I've got to go make sure everyone is okay. I quickly ran out of the cave and headed straight to the old man. When I arrived, his cave was empty and all of his stuff was gone. Ramses must have beaten me here. What am I supposed to do now? Just then I remembered the buried item. I began digging around. Surely I could use whatever this mysterious item is now. I uncovered a chest and opened it to look inside. A note. You had the power with you the whole time. Use your power of hope, will, and the strength of your people to overcome any obstacle. It's just a motivational note? I don't need that. I need a weapon that can save everyone. Oh no, everyone! I ran over to the other side of the mountain and could see our town was in flames. Why would Ramses betray us like this? I should have listened to the villagers, the old man. They were right about him. I hurried and ran down the mountain to look for survivors. As I got closer, I could see several of the villagers, and the trader came running up to me.
Zozo, where have you been? Ramses returned to gather all his soldiers, and they all attacked.
I'm so sorry. Ramses knocked me out and took the special weapon we had found.
That must have been what he was using. He had some incredible abilities and had turned into a monster, but somehow we managed to push them out.
I've got to stop him before he can give the item to the pharaoh. I better get to the city quick.
That's the thing. I don't think he went to the city. There's a fort near here. I think you should go there to face him.
I thanked the trader for his help, then went into the desert. I sure hope I can get the item back. On days 75 to 78, I could see the fort in the distance. I couldn't waste any time trying to be sneaky this time. I was charging through the front. As I entered the fort, Ramses' soldiers tried to stop me. Good luck! You guys are all traitors! I ran through the base, using my main weapon to throw them high in the air. I felt like I was running through the base, flipping pancakes. You're gonna need a meal on this flight. One by one, I tossed the guards into the air and out of my way. At long last, I made it to the main tower and ran up the stairs. As I reached the top, Ramses was waiting for me. On days 79 to 84, I stood face to face with Ramses. Ramses. He didn't look like a monster.
I don't want to do this, but I can't let you go any further. Your story ends here.
Ramses put on a battle helmet and attacked. Ramses, how could you betray me like this?
I never wanted to betray you. In fact, I wanted to save you. You can't face my father. He'll destroy you and all the people you're fighting for. I thought if I could take the special item, you'd give up the fight.
I can't stop fighting though, can I? Your father will never stop. And even if we can live in our village, there are still hundreds of people still being kept as his prisoners. Just give me the item and we can stop him together.
It's too late. I've already sent it to my father. Just surrender now and we can be done with this.
I don't want to fight you, but I can't let these innocent people be captured. I'm sorry. Just then, I landed the final blow, defeating Ramses for good. In another life, maybe we could have been brothers. I hope one day we can meet again. I picked up the helmet he had dropped and put it on. It was a sad day, but it was time to save everyone. On days 85 to 89, I arrived back in the village and met up with the trader. I told him everything that had happened and that the pharaoh now had the special item. He encouraged me to keep fighting, but first, we needed to fix the village. We all got to work cleaning up the damage in the village. The soldiers had really hurt the buildings, but it wasn't anything we couldn't fix. It took a long time, but soon, everything was back to normal. I then headed over to the statue and got to work finishing that up. Before I went to the city, everything needed to be properly put into place, just in case I didn't return. Soon, the statue was complete. Don't forget to subscribe, so you can be the first to go on our adventures with us. On days 90 to 94, I decided to take a walk around the base. I wasn't sure what to do next. As I saw the villagers tending to their crops, I noticed the ditches they had dug to bring the water in. Suddenly, I had an idea. I hurried to tell all of the villagers my plan. With the villagers on board with my plan, I gathered up as much sand as I could. I was going to need a lot of it if this was going to work. I also went back to the pharaoh's tomb to fight more gas and collect gunpowder. As a final step, I met back up with Hugo to ask for his help. He was pretty excited about what I had in store for the pharaoh and was happy to help. All his friends agreed to help too. Alright, everything should be in place. The pharaoh better watch his back. I'm coming for him. On days 95 to 97, I made my way back to the city with Hugo and his pals. Everybody ready? Charge! I quickly put on my armor and we ran into the city. There were even more guards here than before, but they were no match for my gang of hippo pals and powerful items. The higher they go, the harder they fall. I flipped guards in the air as we made our way toward the palace. As we got closer, storm clouds began to roll in and lightning started striking the ground. It must be the pharaoh using the special item. We have to hurry. As we ran through the square, we told as many people as we could to flee to our desert base. The lightning strikes were getting really scary and hit some of the villagers. It even hit one of Hugo's pals. Luckily, he was able to shake it off and keep going. Soon, we were at the entrance to the palace grounds. On day 98, we entered the palace grounds and began fighting our way through. It felt like there was an endless stream of guards attacking us, but they couldn't handle the strength of me and my hippo team. Hugo, you know what to do. Wait here for me. I ran into the palace and managed to fight off the guards on the first floor. All that was left was to head upstairs and face the pharaoh.
Hey, hang on a second.
Nubia came running over to me. Nubia, what are you still doing here? Your father has become too dangerous.
I know. After you stood up to him in the arena, it inspired me to do the same. I had always felt like what he was doing was wrong, but it wasn't until then that I felt like I had the courage to say something. After I told him what I thought, he kept me trapped here in the palace. It wasn't until you stormed the palace today that my guards finally left me alone.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear things have been so bad for you, but hopefully we can bring an end to it soon. If I don't make it, the people of this desert will need a strong leader like you. Stay safe until this is over. Nubia nodded and ran off to hide. It was go time. I climbed the stairs and saw the pharaoh waiting for me.
So, you think having a beard makes you a man? Please, you're just the same little boy I banished into the desert.
Don't bring my beard into this. You must let my people go.
You can ruin my water and fill the streets with as many frogs as you want, but I will never let them be free.
Just then, the pharaoh stepped forward and activated the special item. There was a burst of fire, and he transformed into a giant Egyptian monster.
How do you like this?
I was surrounded by a ring of fire and was suddenly hit by a bunch of lightning. Oh, to be honest, I didn't really like it. I couldn't wait any longer, so I ran forward and attacked. The pharaoh hit me back, which nearly ended me in one hit. Looks like it's time for plan B. I turned and ran down the stairs and out of the palace.
What's wrong? Too afraid to fight?
Hugo was waiting for me, and I hurried and jumped on his back as the pharaoh and his men chased after us. They were close to catching up, but we managed to stay ahead as we ran out of the city. Once we were out, Hugo really put on the speed, and we got far ahead. There was a dried riverbed, which we quickly ran across. As we reached the other side, I turned to see the pharaoh and his army stop on the other side. Don't try to follow me or recapture the people. If you do, I'll have no choice but to destroy you.
Destroy me? Destroy me? I don't think you're in any position to tell me what to do.
The pharaoh and his army entered the riverbed, but I was ready to do my secret plan. I turned and hit a nearby button. The sound of explosions could be heard in the distance. The villagers had put TNT by the dam, which was holding back the water.
No, it can't be!
The water came rushing in, covering the pharaoh and his army. It looks like the plan worked. There's no way he's going to be able to escape all of that. Just then, I heard a splash behind me, and the pharaoh came rising coming out of the water.
You may have destroyed my army, but I won't go down that easy.
The river was my last plan. How was I going to defeat him now? On day 99, the pharaoh stood on the riverbank looking down at me.
Enough of these games. I won't have a little bearded man boy ruin everything I have worked so hard to build.
My mind was racing. What could I do? Just then, I remembered the note I found in the old man's cave. You had the power with you the whole time. It couldn't be that simple, could it? Suddenly, a burst of lightning hit me, destroying all of my armor.
What are you waiting for? I'm here to end this now.
I looked at the staff I had carried with me. The staff had been with me the whole time. Now that I was a grown man with new power, I gave the cane a shake. There was a burst of light, and I grew into a massive, super buff version of myself.
What? Where is this power coming from?
I felt amazing. I knew that I was going to be able to fulfill my destiny. Just then, a ring of fire appeared, and the pharaoh hit me with lightning. It was on. The pharaoh and I swung our weapons, doing our best to get hits in. He was strong, but so was I.
You may be bigger, but I still have my lightning.
The pharaoh kept trying to hit me with lightning, but with my new abilities, I was able to dodge it. I couldn't dodge it every time, but it was clear he was running out of ideas. It was time to end this. This one is for my people. I leapt into the air and struck the pharaoh, which caused him to begin exploding. Soon, he disappeared. With the pharaoh gone, I focused my energy and returned back to my normal size. It was time to return to my people. On day 100, the world was finally free of the pharaoh's influence. I traveled to the city to meet with Nubia, who is now the ruler of the city. She was a nice ruler who let the people live freely, whether in the city or not. And she always made sure everyone was paid for their hard work. Our small village continued to grow, and I remained with those who chose to live there. Peace had been restored, and everyone could freely live their lives. On day 1, I spawned in as a baby goat. Oh, I'm a tiny little goat. And ooh, look how high I can jump. Let's see how fast I can climb this hill. I hopped on over, and that's when I realized I could climb the sides of the hills too. Oh yeah, look at me go. I was feeling pretty good about myself, hip-hopping around, when I was suddenly attacked by a raptor. A dinosaur? What century is this? I didn't have time to worry about that though, because I only had 4 hearts. The problem was, I had nowhere to run. That's when I noticed I had some sort of special ability. Headbutt. Alright, I'll give it a try. I swung my head and sent the raptor flying straight off the cliff. Sayonara! I headed down the hill. What was a dinosaur doing around here? Suddenly there was a rustling up ahead, and a whole pack of raptors were coming right at me. More of them? I don't think I can take on a whole pack. They were closing in fast, so I jumped up the side of the hill and started to climb. They couldn't follow me straight up the side of a cliff. Better luck next time, boys. The raptor snarled at me and left. I kept watch for the rest of the day. Who knew if those raptors would attack again? On day 2, I headed down off the cliff. I had to be careful, just in case there were any dinosaurs lurking around. Just then, I heard a cry out in the distance. Help! I rushed off toward the sound and saw a little baby goat getting attacked by a couple of foxes. Hang on, buddy. I charged at the foxes with my head, knocking them back. No one was going to be picking on any goats today. They weren't very tough, and I was able to knock them both out.
That was a close one.
No problem. What's your name?
You can call me Billy.
That makes sense. Come on, Billy. I know a spot that's safe from all the meanies out here. Billy and I headed back over to my little cave, climbing up the mountain. This will be a safe place for us to stay for the night, but I think we can make it a little nicer. I ran outside and cut down some wood, then used it to make a crafting table. Then I used the crafting table to make a wooden axe. Now I can get all the wood I need. After I'd collected all the wood I needed, I started clearing out the cave, filling it with a nice wood floor. Then I added all the things Billy and I would need for a good starter base. Hopefully nothing would attack us in the night. On day 3, Billy and I had decided we would look for supplies, but first, I needed to make some stone tools. Using my crafting table, I made all the tools we could possibly need. Hopefully we could find a good food source. Alright, Billy, let's get out there and see what we can find. While we were looking for any resources that might help, we were mostly hoping to find food, because we knew we would be getting hungry sooner, rather than later. Luckily for us, we soon saw a farm in the distance. Okay, I don't see anyone. If we're really sneaky, we can probably take just a little bit without getting caught. Billy and I got right to harvesting, collecting as much food as we could.
Why, hello over there.
Uh-oh, it was the farmer. We had to get out of there.
Wait, hang on a moment. I don't mind if you eat my crops. In fact, eat as much as you want.
Really? No one has ever been this nice to us.
Yes, well, there aren't very many friendly animals around here these days. Something dangerous out there seems to be making them disappear.
Well, if I had to guess, I'd say it's the dinosaurs taking them all out.
Dinosaurs? Huh. Well, I suppose that must be it. If that's the case, why don't you two stay in my barn for safety?
We agreed and followed him into his barn. There were some nice hay bales to lay on. I was a little unsure because our cave seemed pretty safe, but at least there was food and someone to look out for us. The sun set, and we put our heads down for the night. On days 4 through 5, Billy and I woke up in the back of the cart, pulled by the farmer. Hey, what's going on? The farmer didn't respond and kept looking ahead. That's when I realized we were all tied up and couldn't move. Where are you taking us? The farmer continued to ignore me. After a little while longer, we arrived at a small clearing. The farmer took us out and tied us to a post. Without saying a word, he got back on his horse and left. I've got a bad feeling about this. Just then, I heard a stick break and saw a pack of raptors walking toward us. We had no way to run. It looks like it's the end for us, Billy. Suddenly, the ground began to shake and there was the sound of heavy thuds. The raptors ran away. What's going on? Is it an earthquake? It was worse. A huge T-Rex came stomping around the corner and he had on some kind of weird looking hat.
Aha! My dinner is served. You look delicious.
This dinosaur could talk. We had to escape. The T-Rex lunged at us, but we jumped out of the way, causing him to break our rope instead. Hurry, Billy, run! We took off into the woods. Hopefully we could escape. On day 6 through 8, we were still running for our lives. The T-Rex was hot on our tails. As we came through a thick section of trees, we managed to slip through, leaving the T-Rex behind them. I think we lost him. It was wishful thinking though, as he came stomping around the other side of the trees. Our chase soon led us to a river, and I hurried and swam across. Billy was still just a baby though, and his tiny legs couldn't swim very fast.
It's okay, Zozo. Save yourself.
Keep swimming, Billy. I won't leave you behind.
Ugh, I hate getting wet.
The T-Rex was so close, and I wasn't sure if he would make it. But at the last moment, he jumped onto shore, and we continued to run. We soon came bursting out of the forest, running across an open plain. Billy kept falling into small ponds, which was always a close call. Let's go, Billy. Maybe we can lose him in the trees. We ran into a purple forest, but it was no use. The T-Rex was still right behind us. Man, this guy must be really hungry. Come on, I have an idea. We circled back into the forest from before, and I headed toward a ravine I had seen earlier. A large tree had fallen across it, so Billy and I hurried and ran across. Before the T-Rex could cross though, I quickly cut the log, stopping him in his tracks.
Nah, you silly goats. You got away this time, but no one can outsmart me now. I'll find you soon enough.
The T-Rex turned and ran off. How are we going to survive now? On days 9 through 10, Billy and I were running back to the base as fast as we could. It didn't feel like there was anyone out here that we could trust. Soon, we had arrived back at our cliffside base. Well, Billy, looks like this is going to be our home for the future. Let's fix it up. I got right to work, making our base even cooler than before. I cleared out even more space than before and lined the inside with lots of wood. I also gave us all the equipment we'd need: beds, furnaces, and crafting tables. As far as I knew, we were the only animals that could climb up steep cliffs, so no one else was going to be climbing into our base. So check it out. What do you think of the base? What part do you like the best? With the base completed, I decided to head over to some nearby caves to mine some iron. Luckily, I was able to quickly find some, so I mined it out. I also found some coal, which I was going to need to smelt the iron. I hurried back to the base and got right to work, smelting down all of the iron ore into iron ingots. I then used those to make myself a full set of iron armor, and also used them to make an iron sword, a pickaxe, axe, shovel, and hoe. This is all going to be good for me, but I think Billy is going to need some armor too. With some of the leftover iron, I made Billy some of his own goat armor. He's gonna love this. I brought it down to his base and tossed it out to him. He could barely contain his excitement. We're ready for anything now. Tomorrow, I'm gonna get that farmer back. On days 11 to 12, I left the base to go get that farmer. He was going to have a lot of explaining to do for leaving us tied to a post as dinosaur dinner. As I was making my way through the forest, I heard a howl and was suddenly attacked by a pack of wolves. Why is everyone here so mean to me? I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in the universe. It's a good thing I had just upgraded my gear though, as I was able to defeat the wolves with no trouble at all. Soon, I was back at the farm and noticed it looked abandoned. Where is that farmer? Don't tell me he's hiding. I then checked the farmhouse and saw the farmer inside, packing his bags. What did you think you were doing, leaving us to be eaten like that? I hit the farmer and he started to fight back. He clearly wasn't ready for a fight though.
Hang on just a second there. Please don't hurt me.
And why wouldn't I? You weren't very nice to me.
Okay, let me explain.
Start talking, Slick. What's up with the T-Rex?
That T-Rex is crazy. I don't know how he got here in our time or how he learned to talk, but he's been forcing me to feed him all my animals. If I didn't give him more, he was gonna eat me. I decided I couldn't do it anymore though, and I was gonna flee. Time to start myself a vegetable garden somewhere peaceful. I promise, I'm not a danger to anyone.
I could tell he was sorry for what he had done, so even though I was still upset, I decided to forgive him and let him go. I left as he planted some vegetables I could use later. The farmer was no longer a threat, but what was I going to do about this T-Rex? On days 13 to 15, I arrived back at our base and headed up to Billy's room. When I entered, I barely recognized the place. Whoa, Billy, you've got a lot of work done. Your room looks awesome.
Thanks, Zozo. I also thought it would be fun if we built built a special statue. Here, take this wool. I'll show you what to do.
Billy and I headed out and got started on the statue. Billy was really excited about what we were building, and I thought it was coming along great. At least, as far as I could tell, it was pretty great. We soon finished the first part. Can you tell what we're building? I'm not really sure quite yet. I jumped down from the statue, and as I was walking, I was attacked by a bunch of spiders. Oh look, another mob who wants to hurt me. Stay back, you punks. These guys weren't very tough, and I managed to take them out in just a few hits. Uh-oh, I can hear some more spiders in that cave. I better take them out too. I entered the cave, and sure enough, there were more spiders. One of these spiders was different though, and had blue eyes. The spiders were pretty mad at me, and they hurt a lot. But if I could survive a T-Rex attacking me, I could fight these guys off too. I managed to beat them both down. When the blue-eyed guy disappeared, he left behind something interesting. Poisonous essence. I'm not sure what I'll do with this, but I'll have to hang on to it for now. Just then, I heard more spider noises echoing from the cave. I headed in deeper. What kind of monster would be waiting for me? On days 16 to 19, I was making my way deeper into the cave when I came across a bunch of brown terracotta. I don't know what all of this is doing down here, but Billy said we'd need it for the statue. I eagerly mined up all of the terracotta. Who knew when we'd be able to find more? As I scooped up the rest of the terracotta, I heard those spider noises again. Well, let's go down a little deeper, just to take a look. I soon arrived at the very bottom of a deep cave that was full of spider webs. I turned around and saw there was a huge spider on the ceiling. Okay, just stay calm, don't panic. Suddenly, the spider attacked. Spiders! Why did it have to be spiders? This big hairy beast did a lot of damage, and I wasn't sure if I was going to survive. If I could get the right hits in, I just might make it. I swung my sword as hard as I could and finally was able to take it down. Just then, I felt my strength begin to grow, and I leveled up into a bigger goat, and I've gained 4 more hearts. I took a closer look at my headbutt ability and noticed I had an even stronger knockback power, and I could jump higher too. I hurried back to my house. I had an idea of what I could do with the poisonous essence. I walked back up to my crafting table, and by combining the essence with my iron sword, I crafted a spider sword. Tomorrow I'm heading off to find the T-Rex. On days 20 to 22, I left my base to go find the T-Rex. I wasn't quite ready to fight him, but surely he had a base somewhere. If I could find his base, maybe I could find a way to defeat him. As I walked across the land, I heard a noise up in the distance.
Ah, you wild raptors, get away from me.
The group of raptors were attacking what looked to be a scientist. He needed my help. Watch out, I'm coming in. I leapt into action and started to fight off the raptors. I was stronger and had better gear, so these raptors didn't know what hit them. They were a feisty bunch, but I was able to knock them all out.
Oh my goodness, aren't you just a marvelous little animal?
Oh, well, thanks. Who are you, and what are you doing all the way out here? There's all kinds of strange things going on.
The name's Faraday, and yes, I am aware of these things. They are actually all my fault.
Your fault? What do you mean? The scientist began to explain.
You see, I'm not actually from this time. I am from the future. I invented a time machine helmet that let me travel all the way back to dinosaur times. I ran across the land. I felt so cool knowing that I was the first human to ever step foot on the land. Later that day, though, I sat down to rest, and a little raptor came and scooped my helmet onto his head. This wouldn't have been the biggest problem, but that T-Rex came along, flipped the raptor into the air, and the helmet landed on his head. Thing is, though, my helmet also makes the user smarter, which is why the T-Rex can talk. I had an old prototype helmet that I used to chase the T-Rex through time, but it broke when we got to this present. Luckily, the T-Rex seems pretty happy to be here, since there is plenty of easy food for him.
Wow, that is not the story I was expecting to hear when I woke up today. So what can we do to get the helmet back?
I have some ideas, but I haven't been able to test any of them out yet. That T-Rex's sidekicks keep attacking me. He must have brought them through time with him.
Well, we've got a safe base built into a hill. How about you come live with us? You can do your research in peace there.
That would be terrific.
On days 23 to 26, I got right to work, building Faraday a lab at our base. There was all kind of technology that he wanted added, and it took a lot of hard work to get it right. But in the end, I was able to make him everything he would need to continue doing research. When it was complete, Faraday went and took a look around to make sure everything was in working order. Later on, I hopped in the elevator and took it for a ride myself. It was kind of fun riding in the elevator and getting to look out the window, but I'd still rather climb up the side of cliffs. I met Faraday in the front of the lab, and he told me how happy he was to finally get started. It was going to take some time for him to figure things out, but he said I should make sure I upgrade my gear for when we finally face off against the T-Rex. On days 27 to 31, I decided that I could use some more upgrades that could keep me safe from attack. Faraday told me there was a special item I could get from bears that could help me with this. Bears are super scary. I sure hope nothing goes wrong as I do this. I headed to a nearby forest and soon saw a small group of bears. With my spider sword in hand, I attacked. Very nice to meet meet you, sir. The bear didn't seem very happy to meet me and swung at me with their heavy claws. They were pretty tough, and it was a hard fight, but in the end, I was able to take him out. There were a couple of other bears nearby too, which I was able to quickly defeat without too much trouble. That's when I saw one of them had dropped what I was looking for. Oh look, steadfast spikes. This makes it harder for bad guys to knock me back. Awesome! I then noticed there were some fruit trees nearby, so I ran through the trees and collected as much fruit as I could. Fruits are the best. I always try to eat them when I can. After I collected the fruits, I decided to do some exploring. As I crossed an empty field, I saw a small house in the distance. Let's see who lives here. I knocked on the door and a raccoon was inside.
Who's out there?
Hi, I just wanted to see who lived here and make sure you knew about the T-Rex running around.
A T-Rex? Big deal. I have a bigger problem.
A bigger problem? What could that be?
My magic coal was stolen.
Your what?
My magic coal. It's the best thing I've ever found.
Do you mean stole?
How I got it isn't important. Do you think you can help me or not?
Sure, I'll help. The raccoon explained that a coyote had grabbed it off his doorstep when he wasn't looking and told me where to go to find him. I nodded and headed off for the camp. On days 32 to 35, I soon arrived at the coyote's base. This place is way bigger than the raccoon made it sound. I walked in and was immediately attacked by a pack of wolves. Relax, guys, I'm just looking for a piece of coal. The wolves didn't care and continued to attack. With my attacks, I was able to defeat them before they could do too much damage. Now, where could this magic coal be? What does that even look like? I kept looking through the base, fighting off the occasional wolf here and there. Eventually, I reached the top of the base as I finished up the rest of the wolves.
Hey, who do you think you are coming into my house and messing with my guards?
I'm here for Mr. Raccoon. You stole something of his and I'm here to get it back.
That little raccoon is such a loser. He just gets stuff out of the trash. He's weird, so I like being mean to him.
Well, that's no way to treat someone for being different. The coyote and I started to fight. This guy was so mean. It's not okay to talk about people like that. By using my spider sword, I was able to poison him, which was bringing down his health. You're not as tough as you think you are. The coyote and I kept going at each other until at long last, I hit him with the final blow and took him out. That's when I saw he had dropped the magic coal. I don't know what's so special about this, but I better get it back to that raccoon. With the coal in my pocket, I hurried out of the base and headed back toward the raccoon's house. On days 36 to 39, I arrived back at the raccoon's house with his magic coal. After he came out of his house, I tossed it over to him.
Ooh, my magic coal! I'm so happy to see it again. Thank you.
No problem. I'm just happy I could help.
You have done the greatest thing for me. Here, I have something that you might be interested in.
The raccoon threw out an interesting looking piece of tech.
I don't know what it's for, but maybe that scientist friend of yours could use it. By the way, I get around these parts quite a bit, so if you're ever in need of information, let me know. I can probably help.
I thanked him and turned to head back to the base. I wondered if Faraday would know something about this tech. On days 40 to 43, I arrived back to the base and headed up and into the science lab. I saw Faraday working in his lab and knocked on the window.
Zozo, it's been a while. How are things going?
Really good. While I was out exploring, I came across this strange piece of tech. Do you know anything about it?
My Lanta, that's part of the teleportation helmet the T-Rex has. Without this, he's not able to travel through time.
Well, that's good, right? It means we have a chance to stop him before he can ruin other timelines.
Precisely. I've been doing some research of my own. Let me check my notes here.
Faraday went over to his computers and printed out some notes.
Yes, I am able to make the needed repairs, but there's a special element I need to do them.
That sounds easy enough. Do you know where I can get them?
I do, but the catch is that you have to defeat a rather nasty mob to get it.
Faraday went on to explain where I needed to go to find them. Hopefully it's not too much of a fight. On days 44 to 49, I headed into the mystical forest Faraday had told me about. As I got closer, I was suddenly attacked by a heavy creeper. Whoa, slow down there, buddy. I swung at him and managed to knock him out. It looked like he had dropped something, which I picked up. Creeper shards. Was this what Faraday was looking for? I better keep looking around. I kept going through the forest when suddenly a bunch of the creepers began attacking me and exploding. Keep it together, guys. Jeez. I managed to fight my way through the explosions with my ears ringing in my head. I soon stumbled upon a cave. Okay, he did mention it might be in a cave. I'll take a look. I headed into the cave and was attacked by a couple of spiders. I hit them with my spider sword. How do you like a taste of your own medicine? The spiders were soon destroyed and I continued down the cave. It kept going deeper and deeper until I saw something terrifying ahead. Okay, this has got to be it. What is this thing? The earth golem made a terrible sound as it tried to hit me. He definitely didn't like me stomping around in his cave. With his giant arms, he knocked me down to half a heart. My spider sword had poisoned him and I was able to land the final blow. Yes, I got him. As he disappeared, I noticed that he dropped something. This looks like some kind of strange display. This must be what Faraday is after. Just then, I felt that familiar power flow into me and I turned into a bigger and stronger goat. Looks like I've got 13 hearts now too. While I was down there, I also got to work mining out the diamonds in the wall. No wonder this guy didn't want anyone down here. It was filled with good stuff. That should be everything. Let's get this back to Faraday and see what he can do with it. On days 50 to 53, I returned back to the base and headed into the lab. Faraday was hard at work and was very excited to see that I had made it back. I believe this is what you were searching for?
Oh, Zozo! Zozo, you beautiful being! This is going to work perfect!
I was feeling pretty good about myself, so I tossed in the creeper shards as well. And what do you think of this?
Zozo, this is a ground creeper toenail. Please, never give this to me again.
Oh, my bad. Faraday said it would take him a few days to get the next project put together, so I headed back up to the base to craft some diamond armor. I decided I could use a full set of armor, so I made that. Then I went ahead and made an entire set of tools. I always felt a little bit more safe after making new diamond gear. With my armor upgraded, I headed outside to go and do some more work on the statue. I had the terracotta I had collected before, so I wanted to make some good progress. So what do you think about the second part? Think you can still guess what it's going to be? I then headed back over to my base. This place could use some more improvements. I decided I wanted to add another level atop the cliff. We hadn't been attacked by any mobs, and I was pretty sure nothing was going to get to us. I was pretty proud of what I was able to build, and thought it looked really cool. This is a nice house, but it is pretty big. I think I should go get Mr. Raccoon and invite him to live here. It's not safe out there. On days 54 to 57, I was heading across the field when I saw that the raccoon's house had been destroyed. As I got closer, I saw him lying in the center of his destroyed house. He was clearly hurt. Oh no, who did this to you?
It was those raptors. I guess some of the wolves told them I sent you to get my magic coal back from the coyote, and they attacked me without warning.
I'm sorry. I can't help feeling like this is all my fault. Surely I can get you something to save you.
It's too late. They took everything I have. And don't worry, it's not your fault. Thanks for being the nice one who was willing to stand up for me.
And just like that, the raccoon fell over and disappeared. But before I could do anything else, I heard someone come up behind me.
Well, look who it is, boys.
You have a time-traveling helmet. How?
The big boss man made it for me. He's real smart now and is good with all them technologies. Speaking of which, we know you're hiding that little science man. Hand him over and we'll let you little goats live.
Why would I let you guys have him? You're just going to hurt him or try to get him to make more helmets.
We don't need him to make more helmets. Mr. Rex is gonna make all of us our own. Then you won't be able to do nothing.
You can make as many helmets as you want, but if there's no one to wear them, that's not gonna do you much good, is it?
Well, what do you mean, no one to wear them? Can't you see all my boys here?
All that technology on your head and you're still not very smart, are you? I jumped forward and swung at the raptor, knocking him back. There were a lot of them, but I couldn't let them get away with everything. They hurt my friend, and they wanted to hurt everyone else I knew. You guys are gonna pay for what you've done. I managed to knock out all of the raptors one by one until only the leader was left.
Boy, you're crazy. I'm getting out of here.
Get back here, you coward! I chased the raptor into the forest, but unfortunately he managed to get away in the trees. I had to hurry back to Faraday. We were running out of time. On days 58 to 62, I returned back to the base and headed for the lab. I knocked on the window, and Faraday came out to meet me.
Zozo, what is it? You look worried.
The T-Rex has figured out how to make his own helmets and is trying to give them to a whole army of raptors. That, and they hurt one of my new friends.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry to hear it. I do have some good news for you though. I haven't got the time travel fixed yet, but I built a tracker into this helmet that will lead you to anyone who has a helmet of their own. Perhaps now we may be able to find their base and hit them where it hurts.
I put the helmet on and started it up. Right away I could see a map that showed several X's on it. They must have split up. This is going to be a massive help in our hunt to track them down. Just then, Billy came walking up to us.
Zozo, I think you should go for the raptor first. Then we can focus on the T-Rex. Those raptors could be out there, hurting even more innocent animals.
That's a good point. Plus, it'll be easier to take down the T-Rex if his sidekicks are gone. I'm on it. On days 63 to 66, I decided that if I was going to fight the raptor, I needed to beef up my gear. I had nearly defeated him last time, so he'd be stronger when we met next. I headed across the land to a lavender field to get what I needed. Rumor says there's alexandrite ore here, which is even stronger than diamonds. I headed into the field and soon found some alexandrite ore. I mined it up as fast as I could. I couldn't believe I found it so quickly. With my pockets full of ores, I took a look around and saw a big sign on a hill. Oh, that reminds me, don't forget to sub to the channel, otherwise you'll miss our next adventure together. Sometime later, I had arrived back at the base and headed over to the crafting table. With the new ore, I was able to make myself a new helmet, chestplate, leggings, and boots. I went ahead and equipped everything. Let's get that tracking system booted up and take down that raptor. On day 67 to 70, I stepped outside my house and booted up the tracker. Okay, I can see two X's on the map. Looks like they're still separated. This one looks a little closer to the raccoon's place, so I'm guessing that's the raptor. I headed down from my base and off into the forest. The X was still pretty far away, so I made sure to stop and check every now and then. Oh, it looked like it moved. I better hurry so I can catch up to them. I kept going in the direction of the X, passing through some pretty impressive landscapes. It was too bad there were so many mean dinosaurs about because the land was really beautiful. I stopped and checked my map one more time. Okay, it looks like I'm pretty close and that they might be in some kind of structure. It must be their base. I kept making my way there when suddenly I saw a fortress off in the distance. I could see a bunch of raptors roaming around and a lot of them had helmets on. Uh-oh, looks like they've made more helmets. I better get in there and fast. On days 71 to 74, I charged up to the base and attacked the guards. They had helmets of their own, but they didn't seem to be very smart. The T-Rex clearly wasn't very good at making them yet. I defeated the guards and headed into the base. There were even more raptors in here. Where's your leader? I cut through the raptors using my spider sword and other attacks. They didn't stand a chance. I had to hurry though. If they figured out how to make the helmets perfectly, we'd be in a world of hurt. I'd finally taken out all of the raptors in the courtyard when I noticed they had a storage shed nearby. I started opening the different containers to see if they had anything good. I grabbed some of their supplies, but also saw there were some raptor teeth nearby. Oh, I know just the thing I can make with this. Using the crafting table, I managed to make a raptor tooth sword. Let's see how they like fighting against themselves. On day 75 to 78, I went to go find the raptor leader when he jumped out and hit me. Ouch! Get back here! I chased him into the base and down a long flight of stairs. We soon reached an open room.
Who do you think you are? One single goat trying to take down a whole base of raptors? This ends here. Get 'em, boys!
Suddenly, all the raptors in the room started to attack. This guy was no leader. He just wanted to make everyone do his dirty work for him. You'd think with all these smart helmets, you guys would actually have some kind of strategy for this fight. The raptors were swarming in on me, but I was able to keep them back, using all of my weapons. Their leader watched as I finished taking out all of his henchmen. Why don't you come down here and fight me yourself? Or are you too scared?
Scared? Ain't nobody calling me scared.
The raptor leader jumped forward and started swinging. It turns out he was actually pretty tough. I had learned a lot through all of my fights though, and nothing was going to make me back down. He had to pay for what he did to my raccoon friend. I hit him as hard as I could and could see he would soon be defeated.
Heh, it doesn't matter that you beat me. You'll never beat Mr. Rex. He's gonna fix the time machine soon, and then there'll be hundreds of raptors and other dinosaurs here. You won't stand a chance.
And just like that, he was defeated. He was right though. If we don't stop the T-Rex, we're all gonna be someone's dinner. On day 79 to 84, I was heading back to my base when I saw a nearby cave. It wouldn't hurt to get some more resources, so let's see what we can find. As I approached the cave, I was suddenly attacked by a bunch of mushroom pigs. I should have known I would run into something like you here. I quickly knocked them out and headed into the cave, fighting some more mushroom pigs along the way. They weren't very strong. There were a lot of them. That's when I noticed there was a bunch of redstone in here. I'm not sure what I can use this for yet, but maybe there's some kind of creative build Faraday can make with it. I continued into the cave, collecting as much redstone as I could find. There were also a bunch of mushroom pigs, which I quickly knocked out of the way. At the very end of the cave, there was a room filled with an insane amount of redstone. Oh yeah, if I ever need more, I know just where to get it. I headed back out of the cave toward my base. I needed to talk to Faraday. Hopefully he had made some progress on the helmet. On days 85 to 89, I had arrived back at the base and headed down into the lab. I gave Faraday a knock on the window and he came out to meet me. I told him all about what had happened with the raptors and how the T-Rex was starting to make even more helmets.
Yes, that is very concerning. I have been working on some updates as well, though. Let me show you.
While you look for that, I also collected some redstone. Maybe it can help. I tossed out the redstone I had gathered when suddenly there was a crackling sound coming from Faraday's pocket.
What's this? The substance seems to be reacting with the updated helmet I made.
The redstone? That's kind of weird, isn't it?
Ah, redstone is what you call it. This material must have disappeared before my time. Are you able to get more of this? I have an idea.
Oh yeah, I can definitely get more. I'll be right back. On days 90 to 94, I headed back to the redstone cave. He said he needed more. I'll get him more. I got right to work mining out a bunch of the redstone. There was no way this wouldn't be enough. It took a long time, but I finally gathered up all the redstone we would need. Soon I was back in the lab and gave Faraday a knock on the window. As always, he was excited to meet me.
You've brought me more redstone, I presume?
Oh yeah, this should be more than enough to do whatever you're thinking. I tossed all the redstone I had gathered on over to him.
Excellent. Here's the upgraded helmet. This blue shield on top should protect you from the effects of the redstone.
Faraday then tossed out a bunch of redstone power balls.
Now that we've combined these with the redstone, they'll pack a powerful punch against anyone wearing a helmet. In fact, it should disable it, at least for a moment.
That'll be awesome. This is going to be a lifesaver, I'm sure.
Ah yes, speaking of which, there is a special strength ability I've programmed in it as well, but it will only work once, so be sure to only use it when you really need it.
I nodded and thanked him for all of his hard work. It's a good thing he got trapped in our time too. Otherwise, we'd never get out of this mess. On days 95 to 97, I decided I should upgrade the base one more time before heading out to face the T-Rex. Billy was still young and I wanted to make sure he had a safe place to live, just in case things went sideways. Once I had expanded the base a little more, I grabbed Billy and we went outside to work on the last part of the statue. This was a tough one to build, but I think it looks really cool. It would certainly scare off anyone who thinks that they're tougher than us, that is. Soon, we had completed the statue. I was pretty proud of everything we had built so far. I still had a lot of ideas for the future though. What part of the builds were your favorite? On day 98, I stepped outside the base to have a chat with Billy. Alright Billy, I'm headed off to fight the T-Rex. Hopefully, I'll see you soon.
Good luck, Zozo, but before you go, there was something I wanted to say.
That sounds important. What is it?
I just think that everyone needs to subscribe. Otherwise, we'll never win.
Oh, that is important. be sure to hit the subscribe button, as that will give us the strength to win the fight. Billy headed back inside, and I booted up the tracking system. Alright, I can see him on the map. It's showtime. I headed off in the direction of the T-Rex. It was now or never. On day 99, I had made it to the edge of the T-Rex's base. He definitely couldn't have built a base like this without some intelligence. This guy isn't going to be like the Raptors. This guy's for real. I made my way closer and took a look up at the tower. There's no time to waste. I'm coming for you, Rexy. I charged into the base and entered the inside of the tower where the T-Rex was waiting for me.
I've been waiting for you, Zozo.
That sounds kind of awkward, just standing here, alone, in a tower, waiting for me.
Nah, I don't have time for your nonsense. Obviously, I've been doing other things.
Oh yeah? Like what? Being sad I took out all of your friends?
My friends, please. There were more dinosaurs here too, but I got hungry.
You ate all of the other dinosaurs? You truly are a monster.
Say what you want, but it doesn't matter. This helmet is nearly fully operational. I can bring dinosaurs in anytime I want. And soon, I'll be able to jump time myself.
That wasn't good to hear. I had to hurry and take action before he could do anything else. If you think you're so tough, you'll have to get through me first.
That's the idea.
The T-Rex lunged at me and we started to fight. If I was going to save the future, the time to do so was now. The T-Rex lived up to his reputation, hitting me with some hard hits. It hurt, and my health was dropping fast. Oh, I can't let this guy keep getting these hits on me. I'm not gonna last long like this. I refocused and started to get in some more hits of my own. I think he was really surprised by how strong I was, especially when I would hit him with my headbutt.
You think you can defeat me? Let me show you what real power is.
Suddenly, 2 portals opened up and more dinosaurs came flying in. No, not the time travel! These dinosaurs were insane! I swung my sword and managed to take them out, but soon there were even more coming in.
Don't you see? You can take down as many dinosaurs as you want, but I will always have the upper hand.
He was right. I couldn't keep fighting off time-traveling dinosaurs forever. What could I do? Oh, wait a second. What am I doing? If I want to stop the time travel, I need to disable his helmet. I reached for the power balls Faraday had given me and started to throw them. As they hit the T-Rex, I could see his helmet start to spark as he ran around in circles.
Oh, what is going on?
This is it. I've got to use that one-time strength boost. If there was ever a time I needed it, it's now. I clicked the button on my helmet and I started to grow. I even gained more hearts. I was big enough to truly take him on now. This feels amazing. Now I really am the GOAT. I charged at the T-Rex and landed a hit on him, just as the sparking effects were wearing off.
What the? How did you get so big?
The T-Rex started to spawn in more dinosaurs, but it didn't matter. I quickly cut them down and kept hitting the T-Rex. This is for all the animals you hurt. I could tell I was really hurting him, but he was hurting me too. It was only a matter of time before one of us fell. Who was it going to be? Just then, I delivered the final blow, and the T-Rex disappeared, dropping his helmet. I don't believe it. He's gone. But I better hurry. Faraday needs this helmet. On day 100, I returned back to my base. This time, Faraday came out to meet me.
Zozo, you're back. You must have done it.
I did, and I couldn't have done it without your help. Here, let me give you the helmet back.
You know, why don't you hang on to it? I just need this one component. You never know. Something might come up again when I need your help in the future.
You never know what's going to happen, but I'm glad that today was a success. In the meantime, I'll be here, ready for when adventure calls.